Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين وعلى أصحابه الغر الميامين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين اللهم اجعلنا منهم اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وعملا متقبلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alrighty, so we are going to go ahead and jump in for our class today. We do not have a quiz today. We are just going to be finishing up some of the material that we didn't get a chance to complete last week. And then we will be covering a couple of new topics today. And today we will be ending class about half hour early, around 9 o'clock. So hopefully you guys can utilize that time to study for this class, for other classes, whatever you need to do. You guys know your workload best, but definitely do use the time to study, use it productively. Okay. So we had some drills last week that were we were gonna cover in class, but we didn't get a chance to. How many people got a chance to do this at home? All of them?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll do some selections then, and then you can check your answers and we can go from there. We won't do all of the drills for each one, but you get them out. All right, so we're going to start with drill 5 on page 82 in my book. Drill 5 on page 82. Okay. So the instructions for this drill: translate the word, then convert to majhul and translate the new word. The first is completed as an example. Not all of these will make sense. This is a conceptual exercise. All right. So number 2 is a vocabulary we haven't covered yet. Number 3, Siraj, why don't you go ahead and start us off with number 3?
Jamaat.
So translate it first. Jama'at, translate the translation of jama'at is he gathered. Okay, now we are going to convert it to majhul. So we're gonna go through our majhul chart until we get to this conjugation, our hiya conjugation. Jumiat. Jumiat. Good. Now, how would you translate Jumiat? Keeping in mind that hiya can be used for she. It can also be used for a feminine it or they, for non-masculine, sorry, non-animate plurals.
They were gathered.
They were gathered. That'll probably make the most sense here. They, referring to some inanimate plural, were gathered. Yes.
So with the same rule, not a a rule for making it passive, not apply for wa'ada, would not be wa'ida, but that's something
It would be worried.
Oh, it would be.
Yes. Yeah. Number 2 would be I just don't think I've assigned this vocabulary to you guys before, but yeah. Wa'ada, he promised. Wa'ida, it was promised. Yes. All right. Grant, take us through number 4.
Qatala, which is 2 of them killed.
Good.
And the majhul is qutila, which is 2 of them were killed, or they both were killed.
Good. Qutila. They both.
Did you say 2 of them were killed?
Yeah, that's fine. Good. Isa, number 5.
Mana'ata, they too feminine protected.
Good.
And then the majhul would be muni'ata.
Good.
That would be they both feminine were protected.
Good. Tayyib, number 6.
Akalat, she ate,
Good.
and it would be ukilat, it was eaten.
Good. It was eaten, likely some feminine thing. Good. Skip 7, skip 8. Number 9, Siraj, back to you.
About the food they provided, and it would be frozen food they were provided for.
They were provided for, yeah. Oops. So notice how we have to add some words sometimes in English for it to make sense. They were provided for. Good. Rama, number 10.
Well, after you both listed, and then, with the aftermath, they were both listed.
Good. They were both.
It's not you were both lifted.
Oh, sorry. You were both. Good. Saraqa, was this even given on the vocab list at all?
No.
Okay. Does anybody know what this means by chance? Sariqa, to steal. All right. So with that information, Isa, take us through number 11.
Saraqa, he stole, and then Suriqa, he was stolen or it was stolen.
Good. In your hadith class, have you guys gone over like famous or popular prolific students of companion narrators, or only companion narrators?
Companion narrators.
Companion narrators mainly? Okay. All right. Fun fact, there is a prolific student narrator whose name is Masruq, and we're going to talk about in a second what pattern that is, but literally because he was stolen, kidnapped as a child. So that's not his actual name, but that's what he's known by. So when you guys are in years 3, 4, 5, and you guys are covering a lot of hadith books, you're going to see the name Masruq a lot in your chains.
Could you do 12?
Sure. Number 12 is verb form 2, that we have not covered yet, but azaba means to punish. All right, so Grant, why don't you take us to number 12?
For the majhul could be ulbibun.
Or zibu.
They were punished.
Zibu. Okay.
So just the same thing, and just be with the shadda.
Mhm. Good. All right. Fairly straightforward. Everyone's feeling comfortable with this drill? Okay. Anything in any other questions in particular that people who did it at home want to check?
On a different drill, I have questions.
Okay.
Let's got a more general question.
Yeah.
Would you say this is madi majhul or majhul mad? What's the right way to say it?
The kind of like shorthand way to say is Maldi Majhul. Like the official long form is al-fi'lu al-madi al-mabni lil-majhul. Like that's like the official.
But you could say madi majhul.
Maldi Majhul. Yeah, that still makes sense. Because you're basically just taking off the alif lam and then you're making it most of the support. All right, drill 7. Okay, filling out the table below, it's asking you to identify the tense and whether it's active or passive pronoun. Okay, straightforward. Tayyib, take us through the first one.
Uliku, it's Maldi, and it's Majhul.
Good. What our pronoun?
خلقوا would be hum,
Good.
and translation is they were created.
Good. They were created. Siraj, take us through the second one.
ذكرنا, it's ماضي
Good.
and مجهول
Good.
and مجهول.
Good.
We were remembered.
Good. We were remembered. We were mentioned. Good. 7 we have is verb form 2. So let's just verb form 5. Okay. Umirtu, Isa.
I commanded, sorry, I was commanded, ماضي مجهول.
The and Majhul. Great. And then the last one, Rama.
يرزقون مضارع مجهول home,
Mhm.
and they were all sustained.
Good. Excellent. Short and simple.
Could you say they are being sustained? Would that work as well?
Yeah, you could say they are being sustained. Yeah. The key is that you want to translate it in a way wherein it's communicating mudari', so present or future. And you want to communicate it in a way wherein it is with an unknown doer.
Would they were all sustained be communicating?
Sorry, not the. We should make this present tense. They are all. There, thank you. All right.
For the present tense ones, could we also translate as like they are being sustained?
Mhm. Yes, that was Grant's question. You can also translate it as they are being sustained. Yeah, it's interesting. I think we touched upon this last time, but basically in the majhul, whether you're dealing with maldi or mudari', the verb is often going to end with an ed. It's this word that you're going to have to conjugate to past or present. They were sustained, they are sustained, they are being sustained. But in general, it's still going to end with an ed. Great. All right. Drill 9. Skip to drill 9. Translate, convert to majhul, translate the new word. Okay, so similar to what we did earlier. Grant, why don't you go ahead and start us off with the first one?
Yes, both of them asked.
Make it mudari'.
Both of them are asking.
Good.
And then the majhul is yusalani.
Good.
And then the translation for that would be both of them are asked.
Yeah, both of them are asked.
You could also say, and I'm asking because I was having somewhat of a hard time just translating it into English with the Mudaria, majhul. Could you also say two of them will be asked? That would work as well.
That would work as well. Yeah, that would be highlighting the future aspect. Great. Risa, number 2.
Yes, Alina, you feminine are asking.
Great.
The majhul is Alina. You feminine are asked, or you feminine are being asked.
Yes.
And the first one he said works too, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, it sounds awkward. Sometimes it's a bit cleaner to put the being in there. All right. Different verb form. Okay. 7. Play it.
يتركان ترك يترك um these two things are being taken. Is that what it is? ترك
For the majhul version or this version that they have?
for what they have. Oh,
Um,
no. These two
Are
are
taking.
taking. These two are taking.
Good.
And
Sorry, not taking, but. Sorry, it's
Yeah.
taroka. They both are the opposite of take.
ترك is to take, right?
That's akhada. Akhada is to take. Taroka is the opposite.
Oh, to leave.
To leave.
They are both leaving. Something, right?
Yeah, they're both leaving something, abandoning
And
something.
the majhul would be yutrakani,
Hmm.
which is two items being left.
Good.
These two are,
Or you could even be per people.
Oh, yeah.
They both are being left. All right, Rama, number 8.
They are all leaving. Leaving something, and then the school will be restructuring it. They are being left.
Good. All right, number 9, Siraj, number 9.
Hello. She is reading or you masculine are reading.
Great.
Or this could be. She is being read.
Good. Here would probably be an it.
Oh, it is.
Good. We would isolate this as the hia. Anta wouldn't really make sense here. And then make it it. Great. Number 10. Grant, back to you.
Yeah, he wrote, he is writing.
Good. He is writing.
The majhul would be yuktabu. It is being wrote. It is written.
Yeah, it is being written. The only reason I am adding the being here and kind of hesitate with it is written is because the way you say it is written can also almost kind of sound like a jumla ismiya. And we're going to talk today about the basically pattern that is a corollary to this. That's a noun. So we also want to highlight this as a verb here. All right. Isa, number 11.
Yeah, those two are eating.
Good.
The majhul is yukalani. Those two are being eaten.
Great. Wait, 12.
al-tulubu, whatever. Sheikh, I don't know if that means something. Talaba, yatlub, talaba.
I cannot tell if we're
Student.
being sarcastic.
No. Talaba.
You're right. Student is on the right track. Talib. What does the student
Seeking?
do? Seek.
Okay, I'm seeking.
Your request, yeah.
I'm requesting or seeking.
Yeah. What does the book give you?
Request. And it would be ult lebu. I was requested. I am being requested.
Okay. I am being requested. I am being sought. Okay, great. Any other questions on this drill? Any really straightforward? With the rest?
So when we use these in sentences, essentially, like we just follow whatever rules we've learned so far for like verbal sentences, right? Like the doer comes first, or like we just replace the verb and then the sentence just means something else, basically, right? We just replace the conjugation, like I am requesting versus like I'm being requested by my teacher. Is that how I would like use these verbs? Like,
Yeah, so they're gonna function the same way as any other jumla fi'liya. So it's gonna start with the fi'l, then the fa'il, then any extra information. The only difference is here we're not technically calling the fa'il because the whole point of the sentence is you don't know who the doer is. So yeah, it would be the fi'l majhul and then the na'ibul fa'il and then any extra information. But yeah, grammatically these would function the same way as what we've covered in our other verbal sentences.
okay, thank you.
All right. So if anybody's interested in doing more of these, 16 we haven't covered, 18, 19. That's it. Okay. Drop down to drill 11. Okay. Okay, so we haven't done this, we haven't done this. They put y'all left.
They're trying to connect the youth.
They were trying very hard to connect with the youth on that one. Okay, let's make sure we did these. Okay, yes, we did. Okay, the second one, Rama, start us off. So they give you just one piece of information, you have to fill in the rest of the blanks. So here they give us the translation, so we have to figure out the ma'lum, majhul, and the translation of the majhul.
Yasna,
Good. Yajma'u.
and then the school would be using now.
Good.
You will be gathered.
Good, he is being gathered. Or it, probably here. It, being gathered. Great. Number 4, Amira, take us through number 4.
No, turn to be they all wrote.
Good.
And then the mashhur will be Nudiru,
Good.
and that will be Nudiru. They were looked at.
Yeah. So this is I don't know why they don't give the disclaimer for all of these, but some of these, they're not going to make total sense just on their own. So this one, we're going to talk about this when we talk about the transitivity. In order for us to translate this actually as they were looked at, we would need to have nuziru ilayhim.
So you don't get to just get rid of the harf that's used with the verb. Because now it's like you just finished. You still have to use that.
Yes, exactly. So I guess we'll just very briefly touch on this. We're going to cover it in a slide in a second. But essentially, the only verbs, if we go back and think about what is a majhul verb conceptually, we notice that if we look at an active sentence, the majhul verb is what used to be the maf'ulun bihi, right? For example, akaltu at-tufahata, I ate the apple. Ukilat at-tufahata, the apple was eaten, right? So what used to be the maf'ulun bihi is now the na'ibul fa'il. What used to be the maf'ulun bihi is now the na'ibul fa'il. And so because of that, conceptually, in order for majhul verbs to make sense, they only really work isolated on their own without any helpers on their own with transitive verbs.
Mm.
They only work with verbs that take a maf'ulun bihi because it used to be the maf'ulun bihi. And so any verb that is not transitive, intransitive, lazim, then we would need to basically add a helper harf for the sentence to fully make sense. We'll cover that a little bit more depth in a second. All right, number 5, like
You two left. خرجتما.
Okay.
And it's خرجتما.
oops. Oh my God. Kharajtuma. Okay, and then the majhul is
خرجتما.
Okay.
You two were left.
good. Keeping in mind that this doesn't fully make sense. You two were exited
Yeah.
from. All right. Number 6, Isa.
نمنع, we are protecting,
Okay.
and then the majhul would be نمنع. We are being protected.
Grant, take us through number 7.
يدخل
It is entered. Okay.
would be he enters. And the majhul would be viewed.
Great. Number 8. Siraj, take us through 8.
So it would be كتبت.
Katabat. Great.
She wrote. She was fine. Yeah, she wrote, and then number 2 would be it was written.
It was written. Great. Number 9, Havana.
They know are basically, yeah,
I hear they're probably going for Arafa Ya'rifu.
yeah,
Close. They. So we're gonna assume that this is a they all masculine.
yeah,
Ya'rifu.
they were being known.
Good. So generally speaking, you're not gonna have were, which is a past tense, and being together. So it's gonna be they are being known, are recognized. All right. Number, yeah.
Does there have to be an alif after the wow or no?
In the majhul version?
Yeah.
Yu'rafuna.
Or either of them. I always forget which one needs an alif and which one doesn't.
It's the Maldihun. The Maldihun. So here, because we have that noon that comes after, we're not going to keep a wild alif there. But for if this was arafu or urifu, when you have the hanging wow that's just left there, then we add the alif.
What if it's jazm for the mudariya? And you take off the noon,
Yes.
do you put it out there too? Okay.
So basically the kind of writing rule to remember is in verbs. This is a verb rule, not a noun rule. when you have just a hanging wow at the end, just a mud wow,
Mhm.
then you're gonna add an alif after for spelling.
Okay.
Mad wow wow with a sukun. This is only for verbs. So for example, if I had a uh, sound masculine plural,
Uh-huh.
and I drop the noon to make it idafa, I do not add an alif there.
Uh-huh.
So if I wanted to say the Muslims of Mecca, I would write Muslimu Makkah, but I would just keep the wow on its own. No alif there.
So for any verb,
Verbs.
mudari or maldi, if there's a wow that's left, put alif after it.
Mhm.
But if there's a no need, then you don't need the alif after the one.
No.
Okay.
Great. All right. 11. Who are we on? You did that one. Amina was supposed to be next. So Tayyib, number 11.
It is provided for. The first one is Yarzuqu.
Good.
Yarzuqu would be he is providing.
Great.
And Yuzaku.
Great. 13, Arisa.
With you, they all are being killed. And
So try it one more time. Not are being, but
they all were killed.
were.
Then the first block would be Qatalu. They all were killed. Sorry. They all killed.
They all killed. Great. Grant, 14.
Sohu. I'm sorry, and Sohu.
Good.
The majhul would be Sohu, which is I am being advised.
I am being advised. Great. Okay, last one, 15, Siraj. Y'all.
Y'all are forgiven.
That would be they all.
Oh,
Done.
is that Maldi or Mudari?
Y'all are forgiven. Yeah,
Should be.
sorry. Should be mudari.
Oh.
Because we're looking at the R. Yeah. You all are being forgiven, I guess, is a more complete way of writing this sentence.
Would the Maldi y'all have been forgiven? That
For the Maldi?
yeah.
Yeah. Or y'all were forgiven.
Okay. And then you would make it. Oh wait. So you want
Close, that would be the active.
oh for
The first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
and then it would become so family.
One more time?
So
So. Okay. Okay, now how do we translate the active one?
y'all are forgiving.
Good. I am going to write it out. Great. Okay. We good for the rest of them? Any questions on the last few? Last drill, 12. All right, so They made it easy for us. They put all the vowels on there. But let's go ahead and go through some of these translations. We're just translating from English to Arabic. Rama, go ahead and start us off with number 1.
I was asked about you today.
Great. Is asked about you today. All right, so we've got سئلت, which is our فعل ماضي المبني للمجهول. The نائب الفاعل is what? Anybody?
It's the
أنا. Good. It's the ضمير مستتر أنا. The inside implicit pronoun أنا. Why is اليوم منصوب? I don't know if you guys have learned this yet, but but
it's the verb. It's the verb. 'Cause you know your time.
got some difference here. I heard some ظرف, I heard some مفعول. So this is, yeah, it's ظرف الزمان, ظرف الزمان, a word describing time.
I think we talked about it a long time ago. I just remember.
So how come it's not maf'ulun bihi?
Why is it not مفعول فيه?
You know what?
Simply seems like it's a word that's, to me, is jumping out as a word that is describing time. So anytime you have a verbal sentence in which the time at which something is taking place is being mentioned, it's going to be the ظرف الزمان.
See, I thought that was also the definition of maf'ulun bihi, the time and place that the action is occurring.
For مفعول فيه,
I thought so.
what is how are you guys taught it?
So I just remember we didn't go over this in class.
Okay,
Sheikh Mudafir taught me during office hours, like this part,
okay,
the left part.
okay.
Maf'ulun bihi is similar though,
Yeah.
the way it's described.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how the book describes it.
It says. Time or place, time or place, but in the examples you gave us, according to my book,
What page is it?
I don't have the page, I just have the note. I think you.
51?
21.
Oh, so this comes early. Oh, it's not in the beginning of the book?
No, it's in the immediately.
Oh wait, I have this online then. 21, let's see how they describe it.
Oh, it's this book.
Yeah,
So this would be different than like yeoman. Yeoman would be,
that's also a verb. Yeah,
There it is.
I read it in the book before, that was confusing, I never heard it.
so مفعول به tells you when or where the action took place. It often appears as a special mudaf of time or place. It can also appear as an ism that denotes time, but it is not a mudaf. ورفعنا فوقكم الطور. Okay, so yeah, here you could categorize this word as both ways. It's probably one of those things wherein it's one concept, but it's termed different ways, because this another person could also tell you that فوق, فوق, تحت, خلف, أمام, all of those place words that act as a special mudaf those are all ظرف words.
They were tough in our book as well.
In another book I read, we called it the thought. All of the thought.
Yeah,
Even in our book. Yeah, another.
not spelling it out, but it said, sorry, this wrong. It even said, it often agrees as a special, so it's even saying that it's the love from again ends and then fall into this. But what you're telling us is that maf'ul bihi and love should technically be labeled two different.
no, that conceptually they are the same.
Oh.
Conceptually, they're the same thing. Like someone like this book is categorizing this, I guess, as the maf'ulun fihi, but someone else could read this ayah and say that's the ظرف. Sorry, Makan.
If you were looking at it from the perspective of this is ظرف zaman, what would you look at to be maf'ulun bihi? Like what type of phrase?
No, so I think that the idea here is that they're the same concept but different words for the
Okay,
same
so all
concept.
pretty much the same thing.
Pretty much the same thing. Yeah.
You said love, makan?
It depends. Here, this ayah is ظرفul makan because it's giving you the time. Place.
Okay.
The second ayah, laylan wa naharan, is a ظرف zaman because it's giving time.
Zaman,
Yeah. Zaman is time, mekan is place. The when and the where. Excellent. Great. Okay.
in English, you just adverbs, right?
Adverb? I thought an adverb is describing how something took place.
Never, describing a verb, describing an adjective, all those adverbs, I think as well.
I thought adverb would be like he is reading quickly.
Good adverbs.
That's not describing time or place though. That's describing how they acted. Because when you guys get through more of your mansubat, usually how adverb is translated into Arabic is hal. Because hal is usually how you describe the manner in which an action took place. So if I were to say he is reading quickly, I would say something like huwa yaqra'u sari'an mansub, because that's describing the manner in which he is reading. So I guess I don't know English well enough to know if that's the only definition of adverb.
It's an adverb. ChatGPT says.
What is that?
Maf'ulun fihi is an adverb of time and place.
Interesting. Okay.
Adverbs, why do you use it? Like it's broader, I think, in English, but it is maybe in Arabic.
So he read in the morning would be an adverb.
Morning, I think, would be.
Oh, interesting. Oh, that's great. All I thought it connected adverb with ly.
Why?
Yeah. Excellent.
If you
Yeah.
put like بسرعة, would that be متعلق بالفعل?
Yeah, because you're technically not you wouldn't categorize that as the hal there. It's not so great. Any others on this or related topics? Okay. Second one, Amira.
قرئ كتابنا الجديد. Our new book was read.
Our new book was read. Our new book was read. Why does the word al-jadid have an alif lam, Amira?
Because the sufa for kitabuna and kitabuna is marifa through its attached.
Yeah, jadid is a sifa specifically for kitab. So we would kind of separate the mudaf and mudaf ilayh, and then we would say that the jadid is the sifa for kitab, which is ma'rifa because it is the mudaf. Great. Number 3. طيب.
تفتح أبواب الجنة للمسلمين. The doors of paradise have been opened for the Muslims.
Good. Not have been opened, but
Were open. فتح يفتح.
you're on the right track. That's open, but the tense.
تفتح would be present. Are being opened.
Good. Are being or here probably will.
Will be open. Oh.
Great. Isa, number 4.
يصير المسلمين يوم بدر. The Muslims were helped on the day of Badr.
Great. Badr literally means what?
The well of the battle.
The what?
Are you talking about Badr?
Yeah.
The well of Badr or the battle of Badr? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's talking about the battle.
Yeah.
But what does Badr literally mean? If we were to translate this sentence hyperliterally. Badr is طلع البدر علينا.
Oh,
Moon, full moon. Badr is a full moon. All right. Number 5. Grant. Or I guess we didn't do wajada, but this is to find.
توجد دواب عظيمة عند الجبال. The living creatures, دواب.
Dawabun, yeah, any sort of literally dabba comes from dabba yadubu, anything that does dubum on the earth. Walk.
So the I'm a little thrown off because the wab is nakeda, but I guess I would try great living creatures were are being found around the mountain.
Yeah, so something maybe perhaps like great beasts are found.
I was a little thrown off, like I said, because the wab is nakeda.
Like, you know, yeah.
Is that like abnormal? I don't remember seeing that too often.
It makes sense. I mean, yeah, it makes sense to have the naibul fa'il or the fa'il be nakira. No issue with that. Great. Siraj, number 6.
Then you can طعامهم, their food is not being eaten.
Sorry, say it one more time.
So their food
Always
is
get the
not being eaten.
Here, close. Remember that lam plus mudari equals what? What's the formula? Lam plus mudari equals or this is the kind of confusing thing about lam. Lam is our one harf that although it is only used with mudari verbs, it conveys the meaning of
When their food has not been eaten.
yeah, it conveys the meaning of madi. So lam plus mudari equals past negation. That's our formula that I want us to memorize. Lam plus mudari equals past negation. Their food was not eaten. Yes.
Could also be he did not eat their food.
He did not eat their food?
Yeah, because could be he. It's because it's like huwa, right? Akala yakulu
Be active,
can
right?
You just said that akala.
akala
Uh-huh.
yukalu akala yakulu yukalu.
Yakulu.
Yeah.
So it would need to be yakulu in order for it to mean he.
So yukal can't be he. Oh, that would mean that he was eating.
Yeah, if I took out ta'amahum lam yu'kal, that
would be-
on its own would just be it or he was eaten.
You'd have to take the giant beast and then make it this sense, and say he was not eating this food, something like that.
Yeah, so if I wanted to say you wanted to say he did not eat their food. If I wanted to do that, I would need to change this whole sentence. I would need to make it lam yakul ta'amahum.
Use them with water. Would we still say that it's water, but has a meaning now?
Yeah, totally. So lam, it's only used with mudari ever, and when you're breaking up the sentence, you would categorize it as fi'l mudari and all of that stuff. But the meaning that it conveys would be of madi. Great. Okay, let's do this whole exercise because I think it's good. Rama, next 7. Entering the room. Great. We were prevented from entering the room. Great. We've got our helpful nasb here. Yeah.
This is the one I have a question on. I wasn't understanding why the an had to be there because we were prevented mean from, and then the rest without the an. Why does the an have to be there? Because I was trying to put the to or that in that sentence and it wasn't fitting for me.
So the reason why we have to have the n here is because we need our min to be followed by either a noun or something that acts like a noun.
Mhm.
So if we had the N gone,
Mhm.
you cannot have a harful jar followed by a verb just like that.
That was the same question.
So yeah, it's a little bit confusing. So we see that oftentimes if we were to, for example, change the sentence up a little bit, we could take this whole piece and just replace it with the masdar, which is a noun. So we could say muni'na min ad-dukhuli or min dukhuli al-ghurfati. So the reason why I have the end there is to make this thing like a noun.
So min needs a noun. That would, so technically and is
The majrur, it has like if you look at the shibhul jumla, you have the harf al jar and the ism majrur is the full name. Yeah, so it has to be by definition ism.
But
And is not an ism.
It's not, but when it's combined with a mudari or verb, it's like an ism. It acts as an ism. It acts as the masdar basically.
I think you told us that when you first told us about N, you were saying like the N and the verb become with almost.
Yeah, that's why it's kind of not the easiest to translate because like len is always just gonna be never, lam is always gonna be not, lemma is always gonna be when. But and you're gonna have to kind of look at the context of the sentence because what you want to just understand is that it's giving you, conveying to you the concept of doing something. To enter, entering, etc. Great. Okay, okay, number 8, we did not do that, but there was different verb form. Everything else is fine. Okay, number 9, Amira.
لم يظلم المسلمون عند النجاشي. The Muslims were not oppressed. Near Najashi or
With would probably work here.
by. You're not responding, Joshua.
No, by would be a bit too specific here because here, if we say they were not oppressed by Najashi, then that means that he is the only potential oppressor. But here saying, and when they were in his sultana, when they were in his rule. Great. Thank you. All right, number 10. Blade.
لم تؤمر بذلك لا تفعله. You are not commanded with that. Don't do it.
Good point.
Is this one that doesn't make sense in English? You're not commanded with that.
That makes sense. You were not commanded with that, like whatever you're.
you say like to do that? What happened to?
Yeah, you'd be adding some stuff there, but like how does this not make sense in English? I guess?
You were not commanded with that.
You were not commanded
I don't know
with
if we
that.
speak like that, but maybe it's the same English.
Yeah, I would like looking at say like you were not commanded to do that. That would make more sense.
Yeah, I think I've read too many bad translations to think that this sounds just fine.
So all the English Qur'ans that have parentheses and all sorts of words in there, that's what they're pretty much doing, right? Like they're all like trying to add words to make.
Yeah. All of the like translations that you read that have the brackets, those are all just things added because it does not directly translate. We had some extra stuff. Yeah.
Could you explain the use of ba with that?
Oh, here,
Yeah.
bidhalika. Okay, so if you go into a dictionary, this is where the huruf can be helpful. So if we look at this word in the dictionary, it'll help us understand what the ba is doing. So here we have our verb amara ya'muru amran, to order, command, bid, instruct. Okay, so here it's telling us someone be to do something. So this is telling us this is the way that you use this verb. You're gonna take the person that you are commanding and make that be maf'ulun bihi. That's what that little ha indicates. The ha is bihi, maf'ulun bihi. So when it says ha something, or sorry, someone, that means direct maf'ulun bihi, direct object is the one you are commanding. The be is for the thing you're commanding them to do. So the way that this verb would work is with these two in conjunction.
Mhm.
Commission, charge, and trust. Ha, someone, be with something or to do something. So that's kind of just the way that the verb is structured, is that it's going to be with these two components, the direct maf'ulun bihi, and because order, command, instruct is often used to do something, it's going to come with that background.
So I would look up, if it's being used, ba, it's being used with the verb, look up the family of the verb, and then find ba within that family, and then how it's gonna explain how the ba is being used.
You would do it by the verb, not by the family per se. So for example, here we're confused about amara, so I would look up amara, how it's used. If it's with a different verb form, then I could, like, if we had, you know, for example,
Verbatim.
verb form 8, then it has what the ba means here.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah, that's like,
So could you use verb form 8? So if you're seeking counsel, you would use amara.
Mhm.
So
You would use it on verb form 8 though. So verb form 8 on amara would be ittamara. So to deliberate, take counsel about something. Any other questions on that? Okay, great. Where are we on? Isa.
كسبت كل الأموال من العمل الطيب. All of the wealth was earned from honest or pure work.
Great. Grant, number 12.
what did, how do I say that? What did, well, oh, I'm sorry. Wujidat.
Yes.
Al-Barri. We, she was found on, I don't know the last word.
Bar, anybody?
land.
Land.
She was found.
You're thinking of bir.
It's not a vocabulary.
Is that a vocabulary? All right. She was found on the land. Bar, as in contrast to bahar. You'll see these two come up a lot together in Quran. 13 and 14 are, I guess, illustrative of how majhul works. One is the active version, one is the passive version. So we'll just have the same person do both. Siraj, take us through 13 and 14.
Why did he kill the man? And then 14 is why was the man?
Great. Awesome. All right. Any questions on this drill? Okay, drill 13. We may not have time for it, although I do think it would be good. Let me just quickly go through so you guys can see which ones to skip for the ones we haven't promised. Yeah, I don't know why they keep saying y'all. It's also just confusing because it's like, okay, you guys are learning Arabic. You should be able to, like, y'all, it's like, can take some people a second to click that is you all masculine. Great Friends Code.
Maybe they wrote the book in Texas.
They did.
They did write it in Texas.
They did, yeah.
See, if they put you all, they'd be like, why are they not putting y'all?
Who speaks like
What are we from California?
that? Is English our second language?
All right, so 12, 8, 2, 3, 4. Our vocab words we haven't covered yet, but the rest you guys should be able to.
We take 2 minutes before you start the lesson.
Yes. Oh, just have to break? Yes. 8:36. Come back at 8:38.
Um. Does, and then Amira come from Ramadan?
Yeah,
That's so, like, that never ever did.
really?
I was literally brushing my teeth. How? Maybe that's where, and then when you pulled it up on the.
Yeah, the Amira is the one who does all the amr. It's a particular pattern of basically, so Fa'il is a pattern of hyperbole, someone like excessive.
Oh, as opposed to Friday.
Yeah,
Oh.
whereas Rahim is the same pattern, or is the indicating excessive or continuous, constant.
Amira is hyperbolic.
Yeah, Fa'il. Amira with the Tamil is just the feminine version.
I thought it meant princess. Or like a prince, princess.
Yeah, so that is like the it's kind of like how you basically take a word and it has a literal meaning, and then in society it comes to mean princess. But aslan it means the someone who does amr. Someone who does someone who commands.
So if it was like princess, it'd be in the sense of someone that actually has command, which making commands, I guess, kind of like when the prince had power, was making.
Right.
Not just like, oh, princess, kind of.
Yeah. So it's the asl meaning is coming from the idea of command. Yes.
The Arab had it right, if you come with a Disney princess.
What are your other siblings' names?
So my older brother is Muhammad,
Okay.
my younger sister is Amina.
Okay.
That one gets very confusing.
Yes.
Then, Ibrahim is mine. Yeah.
Okay, inshallah.
What about you?
My oldest is Ni'ma,
Mm.
and then is Ahmed, then Sarah, then Adil, then me, Aisha. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rare. I mean, in like my parents don't call me Ni'ma, obviously. It's like they're the way they say it in like Urdu would be like Nema. So it's his name is spelled N-A-M-A-T. But the name is
Yeah, that's not. So you're the youngest?
youngest of 5. Yes.
Like the all years.
Cool, so are you guys, are you traveling today?
Yes,
Oh,
that's why we're ending class early. Have to get to the airport.
Oh, early.
Yeah, we'll be ending at 9, inshallah.
Like, still coming to.
I know.
Of course.
I think I parked next to your car and I parked really bad.
No problem.
Parking is crazy, so I just, but there should be enough space for you to get it to your door. Like I'm
Not so sure.
No,
you need it. You need to cut that one. I said, you need
no problem.
Stop me.
I actually prefer that. I feel like in the sense I prefer when cars, especially on the dirt path, park very close to each other. Because sometimes people will park like, it's like too small for a space, but it's also like, why did you?
Thank you. But yeah, it's probably, you should be able.
Alrighty, let's go ahead and get back in here. Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Okay, so we didn't talk about this officially yet, but we've covered it enough times that we can go through this fairly quickly. So let's just read through this section on transitivity. This is on page 94. 16.3, transitivity. You may have noticed that the role of the na'ib al-fa'ili, the done to, in a passive sentence is similar to the role of the maf'ulun bihi in a non-passive, i.e. active sentence. All right, we talked about that extensively. The concept of the na'ib al-fa'il, the role of the na'ib al-fa'il is what used to be the maf'ulun bihi. Though the labels and statuses are different, they both play the role. They both play the same function of the thing or person that is affected by the fi'l. Consider the following examples. In the sentence, Hamza ate the cookie, the word cookie is the thing that is affected by the action. The sentence is not passive, it is active. So cookie is the maf'ulun bihi. In the sentence, the cookie was eaten, the word cookie is still the thing that is affected by the action. So note that this is the same thing affected by the action. The word cookie is in both sentences the thing affected by the action. In the second one, the sentence is passive. So the cookie is the na'ib al-fa'il. Again, the labels differ, but the roles that a maf'ulun bihi and a na'ib al-fa'il play are very similar. Knowing this, it will not surprise you that when converting a non-passive sentence to a passive sentence, what was the maf'ulun bihi in the active version becomes the na'ib al-fa'il in the passive version. Okay. Now, recall that every passive sentence must have a na'ib al-fa'il. That's part of the structure. Just like every fi'il has a fa'il by definition, whether it's implicit or not, every majhul verb has a na'ib al-fa'il. It must. This means that if a sentence does not have, let's just make this more complete, have the capacity to take. If a sentence does not have the capacity to take a maf'ulun bihi, that's the key there. Not whether it does or not, but whether it is able to. If the sentence does not have the capacity to take a maf'ulun bihi, it cannot be made passive while retaining the same meaning. We will discuss how to get around this issue later. It'll just be with using a harf. This is because if there is no maf'ulun bihi, there is nothing that can be turned into a na'ib al-fa'il. Recall that the maf'ulun bihi is optional. A sentence made up of a fi'l and fa'il is considered a complete sentence. In some cases, a sentence lacks a maf'ulun bihi simply because the speaker chooses not to mention it. In other cases, a sentence lacks a maf'ulun bihi because the fi'l cannot take a maf'ulun bihi. A fi'l that cannot take a maf'ulun bihi is called fi'lun lazimun. Okay, we've briefly touched upon this. Now we're covering it formally. Al-fi'lul lazimu, the intransitive verb. A fi'l lazim is a fi'l that cannot take a maf'ulun bihi. This is because the nature of the action is such that it affects the fa'il only and cannot affect anything external. To sleep would be an example of a fi'l lazim. This is because the action of sleeping only affects the fa'il. It is not possible to sleep someone or to sleep something. A good way to test whether a fi'l is lazim is to use something or someone as a placeholder for your maf'ulun bihi. If the sentence does not make sense after doing so, it requires some sort of preposition or harf in order to make sense. Let us use the fi'l to read to the test. I read something. This makes sense. Okay, so this sentence is not lazim, it is muta'addi. What about to look? I look something. I look someone. Neither of these sentences make sense. So the fi'l is lazim. What about to laugh? I laughed something, I laughed someone. These don't make sense. To look and to laugh would need to have some sort of help. I looked at something. I laughed at someone. Since the two actions to look and to laugh require a preposition, they are lazim, cannot be made passive. Fi'l lazim make sense? Yes.
Does the Arabic, if it makes sense in Arabic, does it translate pretty well to English in terms of like in that exercise, you're looking at the verb and then you're making it, you're checking to see if it makes sense in English. Does it usually correlate like 1-for-1 in Arabic, or is there sometimes where in Arabic it makes sense, but in English it doesn't make sense and vice versa?
Yeah, so this is kind of like a good tool to use most of the time, but there are a good number of examples where in English it will sound muta'addi, it will sound like it makes sense taking a direct object, but in Arabic it doesn't. So I think the example we covered last time was ghafara, right? So ghafara yaghfiru, in English, it makes total sense to say I forgive you. But in Arabic, it's lazim. You would need to use a harf. I would need to say aghfiru laka, I am forgiving to you. So it's not always the case. So it's most of the time this thing will work, this test to check whether something's lazim or not. But there are definitely a good chunk of counterexamples. So it's helpful to just know what health works with the different af'al.
In the example you just gave with you just have to learn which ones don't mix, like even though in English it might make sense, you learn if you need to use a harf with it or not.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I mentioned this earlier about that's been my ongoing complaint with this book in terms of the vocab list, is that they don't tell you. So it's kind of like you're relying on either your teacher or your own dictionary skills. But yeah, ideally, like in you'll see this in other books, this is how we learned it, but ideally you'll have in a vocab list, you'll have the verbs, and then you'll also have the harf that it goes with. I think this book only does it for some. It doesn't do it for all of them.
In the dictionary, how you showed us the use of ba with the other verb, with aba,
Mhm.
does it do something like that when a harf is required?
Yes.
Required?
So if we were to look at so note here, ghafara. We have that ha there again, that's telling you it's the maf'ulun bihi. Notice that it's giving you the lam there. So it's telling you you have to use this to convey the maf'ulun bihi of someone or something. So
Like-
that's how the dictionary will indicate it to you. That ha is the annotation for maf'ulun bihi. And then so if it does not require any harf, then it'll just say someone or something, like we saw in Amara, right? But here, it's because the lam is coming right after, it's telling you have to use the lam to indicate someone or something.
And why on the next line is it the other way around, the lam and then the ha?
Because here it's telling you you're in English, even you would say to give pardon to someone. So here it's saying to forgive someone, to give pardon to someone, grant pardon to someone.
I have a question, in the book, how it says, the last line, since the two actions to look and to laugh require a preposition, then they are lazim and therefore cannot remain passive.
Mhm.
But couldn't, maybe I'm not understanding, but can't you still make the verb passive, but then you just have to, but you have to make it passive and use a harf.
Yeah, so I
It can
think
still be passive.
right, yeah. So I think what the book is trying to communicate is that the verb cannot like intrinsically on its own be made passive. It has to have extra words, extra pieces of information in order to convey the passive meaning fully. Yeah, so it's not that it cannot be made passive, it's just that it cannot be made passive on its own.
Can you give an example of what she's describing?
Yeah, so that would be like the Nazara example that came up in the book. So if I wanted to say, like if I go over here, I want to use this as I'm going to say, he was looked. I would need to have at.
Mhm.
And I would say نظر إليه.
Right. So that's just, then it's just trying to. Right.
نظر
Yeah, if you add a, oh, no, no, like,
نظر is lazim.
Okay.
Yeah. So anytime you have to have a harf to convey a full meaning with with the extra information, then that's going to be your lazim.
Seems so, he was looked at him. That's like kind of like what it would translate literally, right?
Oh yeah, or nudira ilayhi would be, yeah, it was looked at him or something like that, or he was looked
Hmm.
at him. Yeah. I see what you're saying, though. It sounds like there's some like repetition there.
Mhm.
All right. Any questions on that? Great. Okay. الفعل المتعدي, transitive now. A فعل المتعد is the opposite of a فعل لازم. It is a فعل that can take a مفعول به. This is because of the nature of the verb. Nature of the action is such that it affects someone else or something else or someone else. To figure out if a fi'l is muta'addi, use the same test mentioned previously. Add a someone or something, with the caveat of knowing that there are some counterexamples to that. This type of fi'l can be made passive, in the sense that on its own, without any additional information. Okay, so drill 14, we can skip it, but it's basically just asking to identify whether it's lazim or not. Okay, last concept. الفعل المتعدي لمفعولين. This is important. A fi'l متعدي لمفعولين is a fi'l that can take two مفعول بهs. Okay. It is relevant to our study of passives because a passive sentence can only have one نائب الفاعل. When a fi'l متعدي لمفعولين appears in the passive form, it takes on one نائب الفاعل and one مفعول به. Okay, so this is important because we learned before that the passive sentences do not have a مفعول به unless the verb is a verb in which there are two مفعول بهs by the definition of that verb. When that happens, one of the original maf'ulun bihi will become the na'ib al-fa'il, and the other maf'ulun bihi will stay a maf'ulun bihi. This is the only circumstance in which you will find a maf'ulun bihi in a passive sentence. Okay, it's important. Only circumstance in which you will find a maf'ulun bihi. The following example. Okay, so for example, in verb form 2, the verb allama, by definition, it has two maf'ulun bihis. You teach someone something. I am teaching you sarf. So you can see how there are two objects being affected by my action. You, because you're the one being taught, and the subject sarf is also the one being taught. Okay, so when I have a sentence or a verb like allama takes two maf'ulun bihis, then I will have one of my maf'ulun bihis be the new na'ib al-fa'il, and I will have my other maf'ulun bihi remain as the maf'ulun bihi. So in the example from the Quran, عُلِّمْنَا مَنْطِقَ الطَّيْرِ. So from عَلَّمَ, now we have the majhul version in نحن عُلِّمْنَا مَنْطِقَ. We were taught the speech of birds. Notice that there is one نائب الفاعل, the نحن inside of عُلِّمْنَا, and one مفعول به, the مَنْطِقَ الطَّيْرِ. That makes sense? Oh, we have two going on there?
We went over some other word this week that had two maf'ulun bihis. I just can't remember which verb. Yeah.
Yeah,
took some.
to make something into something. Yes, that would work very well. All right. Any questions on these concepts? Yeah.
In this case, the na'ibul fa'il is damirun mustatirun.
Yeah. Na'ib
there-
with a hamza, not an ain.
Is there a scenario where it's not mustatirun, it's like an outside door? Like
The
what-
naib al-fa'il?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Is there-
totally. So that would be something like we did multiple examples of that. So if I were to say uh the whole example we gave about the tufaha, ukilat at-tufahatu. At-tufahatu is an outside naib al-fa'il. Is that your question?
I think so.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Maybe I'll just keep listening and I'll ask you later if I have.
Okay,
follow-up.
yeah, if you go back to our drills, they were all like that. The example you did about tuftahu abwabul jannah,
Uh-huh.
right? Tuftahu abwabu. So the naib al-fa'il there is explicit outside.
No, but I mean in a scenario where it's gonna have a maf'ulun bihi as well.
Oh, you're asking specifically about this type of verb.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I were to say something like yeah, so if I just break up the sentence a little bit more and instead of saying we were taught the speech of birds, if I wanted to say the prophet was taught the speech of birds, then I would have Ulima and Nabiyu oops, lady.
So it makes sense.
Awesome.
So you can, sorry. You can use that for Maldi, Mudari, all of this, the structure is all the same.
All the same. Yeah. If I change this to Mudari, yu'allamu an-nabi, the prophet is being taught to speech of words.
Is there any instance where the maf'ul bihi would be attached to the fi'l? And it be passive as well?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. If I just added a who here, got rid of this. Or limnahu, we were taught it.
Oh. But the maf'ulun bihi is always gonna come second. That's what makes it with maf'ulun bihi, right? Otherwise it would be the
Naib al-fa'il. Yes. And then you're also going to be looking at state, right? The i'rab. The naib al-fa'il is always going to be marfu'. Maf'ulun bihi is always going to be mansub.
So an intransitive is something that cannot ever take a maf'ul without an additional things going on, right?
An intransitive is a verb that cannot take a additional, that cannot take a maf'ul without additional maf'ul. Yeah.
Right, okay, and the transitive, it can, but it doesn't have to.
Transitive can, but doesn't have to. Yeah.
Like so, but there are some verbs that have to take a maf'ul.
Never.
Oh, they have to take. So there's no verb that has to.
Never. Yeah. If we think back, way back, just to the bare bones structure of a jumla fi'liya, it's just fi'l and fa'il. That's all that's needed. You only have to have those two pieces. Those are the only two requirements that will always be there without exception. Maf'ulun bihi will always be optional. There's never going to be a verb that must take a maf'ulun bihi.
I thought there was some verbs that if you were to say it, that you would be like scratching your head, like, oh, it doesn't really make sense to say it without a maf'ul. But I can't think of it.
Yeah, I think it came up at some point in the book when it was going through the structure and it listed out three, and I told you to put the third one in parentheses because it's not necessary. But yeah, the maf'ulun bihi will never be required. It can take it, muta'addi can take it, but it doesn't have to. Like even this, I could say I taught, and that's a sentence. I don't need to say I taught you. I don't need to say I taught you sarf.
You could say he wanted, and that's it.
That would be a complete sentence. He desired, he wanted.
In Arabic, that's a complete sentence. He wanted.
Yep, arada, complete sentence. In Arabic, you can have one-word sentences. All right, great. Well, it's 9. I didn't get to finish what I was hoping we would finish, but This is very simple, right? The stuff that we're going to cover, we'll just cover it super quick. We won't write down the charts, but basically, the last couple of concepts are the active participle, passive participle, and verbal noun. Okay. So you guys can read this on your own, but essentially the ism fa'il is our next entry here. She is the honorer. This conjugation is a noun that represents the doer of the action of the verb for which it is used. Kataba means he wrote. Katibun is a writer. It follows all the other rules that other regular nouns follow, meaning it can be definite, indefinite. It can experience rafa or nasab and jar. It's going to function as any other noun. So here's our chart. This chart you have to write down on your own because it's not in the book. Only 6 conjugations. Remember that these are nouns. Fa'ilun. To make a dual, add an alif noon. Fa'ilani. Fa'iluna. Fa'ilatun. Fa'ilatani. Fa'ilatun. So all of these will conjugate normally. Fa'ilun, fa'ilan, fa'ilin. Fa'ilani, fa'ilaini. Fa'iluna, fa'ilina. Fa'ilatun,
This is
fa'ilin.
just Jamal Mudhakkar Salim and Muannath Salim, right?
Yes,
So is it any verb, if you put on the pattern of like abada, abidun, if you put on that pattern, you pretty much make it that. Is that what it is?
exactly, 100%. So if I were to ask you, give me the ism fa'il chart for abidun, you would, for abada ya'budu, you would say abidun, abidani,
Abidun.
abiduna, abidatun, abidatani, abidatun. Ism fa'il. Yes. Not to be confused with the fa'il of a sentence.
That's just a verbal noun, right? It's not a verbal noun.
Active participle. Yeah. Verbal noun is going to be the masdar.
These are all the bottom chart on chapter 1 and 2.
Yes. Yeah.
Jack, what do you have to add like a mean in the beginning?
This is all verb. Jihad is verb form 3 when we're going to get there next semester. This is all just for verb form. All verb form. Passive participle, the ismul maf'ul, ism maf'ul. Describing the thing that the action was done to. Same thing. This conjugation is a noun, ism, that represents the done to of the action of the verb for which it's used. Kataba means he wrote. Maktubun means something written. Follows all the other rules. Maf'ulun, maf'ulani, maf'uluna. So using your abada ya'budu, ma'budun, something worshipped. Ma'budani, ma'buduna, ma'budatun, ma'budatani, ma'budatun.
You know how you always like highlight what stays same and what changes
Mhm.
in this case, so so pretty much you're adding a meme and the wow after the second letter, and that's it.
Adding the meme and then the wow after the second letter. Mhm. Yes. So here, right, in both the ism fa'il chart and the ism maf'ul chart, everything stays the same, only the root letters swap out. I don't need to know whether it's ya'budu or ya'bidu or ya'badu. I don't need to know any of that stuff. It is going to be the same pattern across the board for all verb form ones. Okay. All right. Some practice sentences. You guys can do that on your own. Feel free to email it to me. I'll have access to that stuff if you want to get your answers checked. And then lastly is the verbal noun. We've covered this on and off here and there. Highlights, there are no conjugations. The masdar does not have an accompanying chart. This is the third word in the vocabulary entry. This pattern is a noun, ism, that represents the concept or idea of the verb. Kataba means he wrote. Kitabatan means writing or to write. This also follows all rules that other regular nouns follow. It can be definite or indefinite. It can experience rafa or nasab and jar. In the vocab list, it's listed as nakira and mansub, but it does not have to be like that. It can be definite, It can take any of the three states. Okay. Some more example sentences. Again, feel free to send these to me if you want them checked, but these are things that you could use to study at home. And lastly, Sarf Saghir. Okay, I think you guys already have a bit of exposure to this from your other class, so this hopefully shouldn't be too crazy. This is a short and easy chart that gives you a summary for the most common patterns that exist for a certain verb. For verb form 1, all you will be required to do is these boxes. ماضي, مضارع, مصدر, اسم فاعل, ماضي مجهول, مضارع مجهول, مصدر again is repeated, اسم مفعول أمر. We are not doing the nahi, we're not doing the ظرف. Okay. So, كتب يكتب كتابة فهو كاتب. كتب يكتب كتابة فهو مكتوب. اكتب. Okay. And so you can do these for all your verbs. This is another great way to study and practice for the final. Go through all of these. ذهب يذهب ذهابا فهو ذاهب. ذهب يذهب ذهابا فهو مذهوب. اذهب. سمع يسمع سماعا فهو سامع, etc., etc., etc. So these slides will be all yours. Go through these on your own time. And just some quick information about the final. All right, this should say final. The final exam will cover everything we've covered so far. Chapters 12 through 20 vocab, the 3-letter verb sections only. Anything tested on the midterm. It'll be very similar to everything we've seen before. It will have a written and oral component. Let me know by the Saturday before winter break ends if you're not able to take it live. Okay. If you can come in person, come in person. All right. Any questions? We all good? All right. I will be available if you need to contact me via email or otherwise. I might not be able to respond super quickly, but I will be around. So hopefully within that. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions on anything, if you want me to check work on anything, and I will try my best to respond. All right, subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanallah al-azim, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk, wa sallallahu ala khayri khalqika Muhammad, walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you.
So club view, will that be part of the plan?
Yes, the club study will be part of the final. Yes, so get some good practice on that. If it is helpful, I can just for accountability purposes, I can do a homework assignment on that for recordings.
families, should I be like paying attention to this position is past tense active, this position is past tense present tense active, this is left up, or focus on that later, or focus on that while we're doing, families?
When you said, like,
Like
when you,
like how this one is past tense active, when I'm learning a new one, I should keep in mind that this position will still be past tense active
yes,
for every single one.
yes.
Okay.
Because the order remains consistent.
Okay.
Some kids presentation stuff,
In Paris,
up to fourth grade.
up to
Up to fourth grade.
What do you call this one? The doer?
Yeah, doer. What was called the doer, like
The last one on the
Arabic
first
doing, for example.
فاعل
five.
دون اسم الفاعل
It's okay.
اسم
That's
الفاعل
what we're, the last thing that she went over in class,
Yeah, oh, the fa'ilun, and then below it is the maf'ul.
which is the ismu.
Is the receiver, it's the object of. It's the maf'ulun bihi. Right?
So last thing that she went over in class was like the ma'uluna, I think was that pattern, which she said was the ism five.
Yes,
So I guess it'd be ma'alu, ma'aluna, ma'alani, ma'aluna,
yes, it's the receiver.
receiver. Is that right? Is it the receiver?
The مفعول is the direct object of the verb.
The pattern.
So like do it for abada. Abada,
The last thing we went over in class was I
Today,
think the pattern, yes, I think it's ma'alun, ma'alani, ma'aluna. I think I'm saying it right, that pattern. And that
Okay.
pattern is the ism five, right?
no, it's a مفعول.
The ma'ul pattern.
Yeah.
What's the ism five that you were just?
You asked me, or someone asked me, Tayyib asked me, what is the last one on the first line? And I said, it's the doer, the fa'il. It's the fa'il, it's the doer. It's the noun that is used to describe someone that is doing that specific act.
Yeah.
That's not, you just used two different words, right? You said that's not the verbal noun, and then you said ism fa'il, which are two different things. Verbal noun is Muslim. Verbal noun is the concept, right? So allama, to teach, or he taught. Ta'limun, the verbal noun, the masdar, is the concept of teaching. Mu'allimun, which is the ism al-fa'il, is the teacher.
but it's a noun, it's an ism deal. So it's everything on the bottom of the first chapter of that. Abidun, Akidun, all in that pattern. Now the one.
And that is called.
Abidun, Akidun, Nalidun, etc. That is called the fa'il. Fa'il. The doer. What happens? If you're in Abidun, granted it's Abidun, it's the one who does work.
For kids every day.
I'm trying to figure out what just happened. What do they have?
Specifically, I heard my.
Okay.
It's not the one doing the action, it's the one. I said,
Right now.
who did this?
You know, the Arabic language.
But why? But that.
I don't get invited to the school stuff.
No, I'm not.
It's like I'm part of IOK, but not part of IOK. I never know what's going on at school. People ask me questions about school, I'm like, I don't know.
Wait, tomorrow. Oh, yeah.
It is what?
Last day of it.
It is?
It's tomorrow, second period. All the classes are coming together.
Really? Listen, man, don't doubt me. I can squeeze in some Arabic. I can squeeze in some Arabic. Don't doubt me.
I've checked out. You checked out?
You checked out now? Or no?
I checked out like yesterday.
God.
And he was thinking about doing the winter intensive too.
I thought it was next week. Instead of this week. I was gonna stay active by
Oh,
doing the winter intensive, but I thought it was next week during the break. Not this week. Don't worry, I'll be messaging you a lot during the break, asking random questions.
don't worry. As of tomorrow, you're blocked.
It's the second.
All right. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Sheikh Aisha was here today?
Yeah. Are they taking off today?
Yeah, like the flight's at 1.
Yeah, she had to leave at 9. She said that she's leaving right after.
Okay.
The flight's at 1?
The flight's at 1. Mind you, they're flying out of LAX with baby. You
have to get there 3 hours minimum.
Yeah.
Which is
Oh, 3.
9.
Yes.
Well, oh wait,
Yeah, 9.
she's not gonna make it.
No, she'll make it. She'll make it. They'll get
They're
there.
built different.
Yeah, they're built different. They're just built different. Like if I was traveling with baby, like I would not have come yesterday.
Get a hotel, stay there.
I would not have been here yesterday. Yeah, they're just, mashallah, they're just built different. I guarantee you, whoever taking them to the airport was ready right outside. The bags were all packed. I guarantee it. I guarantee the bags were all packed. I mean, I know they live right around the corner, but like everything was ready. They're like literally teaching. It was done straight to the airport. The baby was already in the airport clothes. The baby, I can guarantee it. The baby didn't even need to be changed. Yeah, everything. The baby was ready. I don't know if I think I can mention this. I think I can mention this. You guys remember? This is your first year. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Sheikh Aisha, last year she gave birth. The next week she taught. No, like literally the next week she taught. Like I'm not talking about, it was closer to like 7 or 6 days. And I was like, I came into class because I teach obviously after her. And they're like, Sheikh Aisha was here. I was like, what? I was like, I wouldn't be here if my wife gave birth. No, mashallah, they just built different.
So is that, can I now go tell my wife, like, what have you been crying about? If I was teaching her, you're over here, oh, my back.
You just bring a shovel to class. Okay, so what was covered with Sheikh Aisha? So sorry, what did you say? What was the first thing you said? الفعل اللازم. Okay, have you done that before? I feel like I thought she touched upon it before. No, I could be wrong.
Maybe test.
Okay. فعل اللازم. Okay, doesn't require a مفعول به, right? So the technical terms فعل اللازم. Okay, so they
It was-
call it,
It was more like it can't take a maf'ul.
yeah, so the English terminology that you'll hear sometimes, فعل اللازم, فعل المتعدي, متعدي transitive, right? Like the action carries over, right? And then فعل اللازم, intransitive or non-transitive, whatever the more appropriate technical term is, right? Just so you know, you ever see that فعل اللازم, non or intransitive, فعل المتعدي, transitive, meaning transitive, the verb carries over and has an effect on an object. Okay, what else?
We finished looking at Majhul, Madi and Mudaria.
Okay, مجهول.
What was the thing that we did the last 3 parts?
الفعل المتعدي لمفعولين. Okay, which I've talked about before. Basically, a fi'l that is transitive, but transitive upon 2 things. Like, so for example, I gave the example of the verb أعطى, to give. When you talk about giving, it's who you gave to and what you gave, right? Or even the verb جعل, right? You made something into something, right? جعل الله إبراهيم خليلا. Allah made Ibrahim a Khalil, a close friend. So that would be الفعل المتعدي, the transitive verb, لمفعولين, to 2 مفعوls. Okay, what else?
It was just saying that like, in a passive sentence, this is the only time that you have a maf'ul bihi because the naibul fa'il and the maf'ul bihi will be affected by the.
Okay, good. So that last idea that Amira mentioned is that generally when you have a passive verb, right? We're talking about a fi'l al-muta'addi, right? When you have fi'l al-lazim, it's hard to make it passive. Does that make sense? But when you have a fi'l muta'addi, a transitive verb, right? Then what happens is originally you have fi'l, fa'il, maf'ul in a normal sentence. When you make it passive, essentially you're making the verb majhul. And when you make the verb majhul, the fa'il gets removed. And the maf'ul takes the place now of the fa'il. And it gets relabeled as na'ibul fa'il. Na'ib means substitute or replacement, right? So now the maf'ul becomes the na'ibul fa'il, and it also now goes from being mansub to marfu'. So for example, if you say أنزل الله القرآن, أنزل الله القرآن, Allah sent down the Quran. Make it passive. أنزل القرآن, the Quran was sent down. Unzila is now my passive majhul verb. Al-Quran was my maf'ulun bihi mansub. Now it's my na'ibul fa'il marfu', right? So then what Amira said is that when you have a verb that is transitive, muta'addi li maf'ulain, to 2 maf'uls, right? And then that verb becomes passive, then this is the only instance where your passive verb will have a na'ib fa'il, but your sentence will always also now have a maf'ulun bihi. Because what happened is, for example, when you say أعطى الأستاذ محمدا كتابا. أعطى الأستاذ محمدا كتابا. Normal معلوم sentence. The teacher gave Muhammad a book. أعطى فعل، الأستاذ فاعل مرفوع، محمدا مفعول به الأول منصوب، كتابا مفعول به ثان منصوب. Right? You change it. أعطى becomes أعطي. الأستاذ gets removed from the sentence. محمدا now gets put in the place of نائب الفاعل. So أعطي محمد. Muhammadun was given kitaban, a book. So everything moved a placeholder over. أعطي محمد كتابا. Muhammad was given a book. So أعطي would be your verb, Muhammadun would be your naibul fa'il, and kitaban would be your maf'ulun bihi, your only maf'ulun bihi. Was that it?
We covered the 2 things, like if you can take any verb and make it a noun, like abada abidun, fa'ala fa'ilun. What is that called?
Ism fa'il.
Ism fa'il.
Ism
And then the
fa'il.
one below that, it's maf'ulun.
Ism maf'ul. Okay, you did that for 3-letter verbs.
Yeah,
Okay,
just
okay, so like what examples were given?
You just literally showed you in 2 minutes before you left.
It was like 9:07. She was halfway out the door.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
She's like clicking the PowerPoint.
You told us to memorize it over the break.
Okay.
But you just called it the ism 5? I thought you said that's the masdar was ism 5.
No, the masdar is the masdar.
Okay,
He said verbal noun. He said verbal noun is masdar.
okay.
Verbal noun is masdar. Verbal noun is masdar, right?
Ism 5 is something different.
Ism fa'il is the doer. Sometimes it gets referred to as fa'il and sometimes it gets referred to as ism fa'il, right? Same concept, same difference, right? But masdar is the concept, the idea, right? Like for example, alima ya'lamu, to know, alima ya'lamu. The concept is ilmun, knowledge. The one who knows is alimun. And that which is known is ma'lumun. Make sense? Akala ya'kulu, to eat. The concept of eating is aklun. The one who eats is akilun. And that which is eaten is ma'kulun. Right? Shariba yashrabu, to drink. Right? Shirbun is the masdar, drinking. Right? Sharibun is the one who drinks. And mashrubun is that which is drank.
What did you say masdar was?
Shariba yashrabu.
Shurban?
Shurban. Sorry, shirbun. Shurban.
I would say one was given, one was given, one was given a drink, one was given food.
You would have to use like more than one word. No.
So she said that, so we're gonna have, like, part of our test will be the song something for
One.
and so she said we have to know, like, we have to, do it. And then, but she's not including the nahi and the
Zarf.
club. Is that just to make our lives easier? Like you would basically like cut away, and then you
She's
would
not including the nahi?
She said that.
Okay. But she's taught you the nahi. I understand Zarf because she hasn't done. She's taught you nahi too. Maybe just to make your life easier.
Okay.
So basically she's not including anything in the last line except for the command. Right? Okay. So technically you would write كتب يكتب كتابا فهو كاتب فهو, this is family one, right? Yes.
Yes.
كتب يكتب كتابا فهو كاتب. كتب يكتب كتابا فهو مكتوب. Remember, this is family one. Technically, I didn't do family one, right? I started from family two, and then the last line you would just put uktub, right? Or kharaja, you would do kharaja يخرج خروجا فهو خارج. Then خرج يخرج خروجا فهو مخروج. And then أخرج on the last line.
I think
Our book says Farujan, but it's wrong.
Yes, we corrected that. We corrected. I know we corrected that.
It's Khurujan.
The book says Kharujan. Yeah, it's Khurujan. Which chapter is that?
I'm trying to find it.
Kitabatan, sorry. Kitabatan. Yes, it's Kitabatan, not Kitab.
Here, could you just do one more in front of it?
Yeah, so but really quickly, which chapter is Kharaja Yakhruju?
I have screenshots, but you told us to screenshot.
It's not 12:13?
I didn't screenshot the chapter, just the words.
It's
It's on the
page
bottom left.
57, chapter 15.
Chapter 15? Okay.
Kharaja yakhruju
Khurujan.
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 Yeah.
And it made more sense too. I remember when I was memorizing it wrong, it didn't flow.
No, you're right.
Khurujan doesn't flow.
You're right.
Khurujan.
It would always go.
Could you do akhadha if you don't?
Yeah. No, let's not do akhada because akhada she won't ask you because I mean I could do it, but it has a hamza at the beginning, so it's gonna act differently.
Okay.
But it's gonna be This, I mean, if we were to do it, it's going to be أخذ يأخذ أخذا فهو آخذ.
أخيرا.
And second line, أخذ يؤخذ آخذا فهو مأخوذ. Okay, Ron? Are you ready? And then the amr over here, and that's why I didn't want to, the amr over here is khud. The amr over here is khud. Because this verb is different, it starts with the hamza.
Could
Okay?
you do the maf'ulun one more time?
مأخوذ. قتل. There we go. قتل يقتل قتلا. قتل يقتل قتلا. Don't say قتالا. Clear? قتالا is where? Huh? Yeah. قاتل يقاتل قتالا. Okay, going back. قتل يقتل قتلا فهو قاتل. He's a killer. قتل, he was killed. يقتل قتلا فهو مقتول. He's the victim or the one killed. And then the command, right? اقتل. I mean, you should know the nahi as well. I mean, لا تقتل. It's simple, right? The nahi is simply the mudari', right? Just put the lam before it made majnun. It's not.
So the third, the last one you did on the first line is just same as vocab 1 at the bottom. You said qatilun.
Yeah.
That's all that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
The last one on the first line. Yes. It's the doer.
You know how family 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, all of them are you plug and play. For family 1, do you still have to keep the ayn kalima, whatever vowel it actually is, in certain places? You know how like amila.
But it will change. See, that's why family 1 is not like.
Okay, so
You
that
use-
one is gonna be not like the rest of them.
It's not like, because for example, right, family 2 through 6, they all stay consistent. علم يعلم, right? Whatever, بشر يبشر, they all stay exactly consistent. Family 1 doesn't, right? It'll go خرج يخرج, then it'll go شرب يشرب, right? Even the beginning, the first one, right, will be different. It will be either خرج or شرب, right? Because technically, family one can be upon 3 different patterns. It can be فعل, فعل, and فعل. Yes, right? So you can have, right, ذهب, you can have شرب, and you can have قرب. What's so funny in them? What? Right, you can have, right, فتح, شرب, and قرب. Right, those are your 3 different ones. قرب, for something to come closer, draw near. You guys know the if the madi, we're only talking about family 1 right now. Okay. If the madi is fa'ala, if the madi is fa'ala, what are the mudari' options? Huh? If the madi is fa'ala, then the mudari' options are
I'm so confused what you're asking. Are you saying put on different variables?
Nama?
and kasra, all of them. Okay, so look, not options as in you get to choose,
Right.
but the possibilities.
Oh, the
Okay. So if you're if it's fa'ala, you honestly are in the dark. You're in the dark because you don't know if the mudari' will be yaf'alu, yaf'ilu, or yaf'ulu, because every single one exists. You get what I'm saying? Fataha, yaftahu. Fataha, right? Fataha, fataha, fataha. Fataha, yaftahu. Kharaja, fataha, fataha, fataha. Kharaja, yafruju. You get what I'm saying? Right? And then let's see. There's one I always, this is the one I always forget. Let's go. What's yes, no. Yes, there we go. Thank you. Daraba, ribu. Do you see how all three came? Right? So if it's fatha, 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 essentially you're in the dark. You have a 33.3% chance of getting it right, the mudari. Does that make sense? Yes? If it comes fatha, fatha, fatha. Okay? If it comes shariba, right? Or sorry, if it comes fa'ila, you have a 50% chance of getting it right. Because it only will come yaf'alu or yaf'ilu. It only will come yaf'alu and yaf'ilu. It won't come yaf'ulu. If it goes fa'ila, like you think about them, the more common one is fa'ila yaf'alu. So like you have body, shariba yashrabu, labisa yalbasu, amila ya'malu. What else? What else?
One that goes.
Yeah.
That's right.
And kasra. They are less common. They are less common than going like labisa yalbasu. It's there. I just can't find it right now, but it's there. We go fa'ila yaf'ilu. Got it? So fa'ala, how many options? Three. Okay, all of them. Fa'ila, 2. Fatha and kasra. Okay. If it comes fa'ula, then as long as your like aql is working, then you have 100% chance of getting it right. Dhamma. Qaruba, rubu. It'll always come fa'ula, yaf'ulu. Oh, sorry, kasra. Hasiba comes yahsabu and comes yahsibu as well. So hasiba yahsibu. I was looking for a kasra one. Oh, it is yahsabu. Yeah, what is it in the book? Yahsabu. Yeah.
So if it's dhamma, 100% of the time, there's
As
no.
long as you're paying attention, yeah.
Yeah.
Qaruba yaqrubu. Yeah.
Why didn't she teach us that? That would make life so simple.
Yeah.
She just completely skipped out on it.
I mentioned it before, but I mentioned
You
it.
didn't.
I did. Give me a second. I know I mentioned it. I mentioned it before, but I mentioned it a little too early.
Oh.
I mentioned it like maybe October-ish, right? And you kind of just y'all did that thing where you nod your head like you understand, but y'all really didn't understand. And we just kept going. And I knew too. I was like, I'll come back to it. Yeah. Right? But basically your percentages get higher with 33, 50, and 100, right? Right? But without a doubt, the most common is fa'ala. Right? And then you're left in the dark to figure out what you got to do, right? But then fa'ila and fa'ula. Right? I think we stopped using it. Was there a besides that second book, was there a different sort of book that you guys got? No. But basically, yeah, as long as you remember that, you have that written down somewhere, that can help significantly, right? Once again, if it comes fa'ala, then hopefully you memorize the verb, because not then you're just like in the dark. Right? Good. Let's just do one more. What are your verbs? Oh. خلق والمضارع يخلق ده مصدر خلقا فهو خالق, right? Then second line خلق مضارع يخلق مصدر خلقا فهو مخلوق, created being, and then just the command أخلق.
لا تخلق.
لا تخلق. Sheikh Aisha still doesn't know that you guys know family is 2 through 6, or just,
She knows.
She knows.
Because we're flexing.
Oh, you guys are just like She's like, hold on, you guys know family 2 through 6, but you don't know 1? Okay, open up your Arabic books. I have it as page 33. We have finished that. Okay, so he says quotes. Quotes in Arabic are considered to be a type of maf'ulun bihi because they answer the question of what did X say. The term for this in Arabic is maqulul qawl. You don't have to memorize this term. You do not have to memorize this term. A maqulul qawl can contain either a jumla ismiya or a jumla fi'liya. وَقَالَ اللَّهُ إِنِّي مَعَكُمْ. And Allah said, certainly I am with all of you. Right? Here the maqulul qawl is simply a jumla ismiya that contains a mubtada. Technically it's not called the mubtada, it's called the ism of inna. And a muta'alliqul bil khabar. He's talking about the phrase inni ma'akum. In some cases, the maqulul qawl does not always have to be a sentence. Take a look at the example below. قالوا نعم. They said yes. Right. 13.3. Question words. In Arabic, most question words have no grammatical effect and can simply be added to the beginning of a sentence. Both ismiyatun and fi'liyatun. Below are some commonly used question words and their definitions. Memorize them. Going from right to left. Man, who. Not to be confused with min. Mada or ma. Both mean what. Right? If I say ma fa'alta or mada fa'alta. Okay? Mata, when. Remember, none of these have the effect of jar. They're not huruf al-jar, right? Where, aina, why, limadha, right? Limadha can be shortened to lima. I can say limadha fa'alta hadha, and I can say lima fa'alta hadha. And if you write lima, it's the lam and the meme. It's simply just the fatha on the meme and no alif. Kayfa, how. Hal, or just using what's called hamzatul istitham, which means did, or, right? And then ayyu, which means which. Yes, ayya is flexible.
What's the, is it lamma that you can use with the past tense and it means like
When? Yeah, but that's not a question. That's not like used as a question.
Oh, it's not used as a question.
Lamma, no.
Okay. So
Lamma with the present tense means not yet, and lamma with the past tense means when.
but not in a question.
Yeah, it's not right. It's just
Could these words, like, for example, how be used without forming a question? Like, this is how it was done, this is where it's located, or would you use different words?
you can.
Okay, so
You can, some of them.
not every time that you see these
No.
words, it's gonna be obviously with math, but some of the other ones as well, it's not gonna be a question.
Yeah, you
Okay.
can use them without. Take a look at how these questions words are used with the jumla fi'liya. Man darasa, who studied? Hal darasat Zainabu, or you can say darasat Zainabu, did Zainab study? Mata darasat Zainabu, when did Zainab study? Ayna darasat Zainabu, where did Zainab study? لماذا درست زينب? Why did Zainab study? كيف درست زينب? How did Zainab study? ماذا or ما درست زينب? What did Zainab study? في أي مدرسة درست زينب? At which school did Zainab study? I said أي is flexible. You can go أي أي depending on where it comes and how it's used, right? So في أي مدرسة درست زينب? At which or in which school did Zainab study? Take a look at how these question words are used with a jumla ismiya. Man huwa, who is he? Hal huwa mawjudun, is he present? And similarly, you can say, huwa mawjudun, right? Is he present? Mata huwa, when is it? Ayna huwa, where is it or where is he? Limadha huwa mawjudun, why is he here? Why is he present? What is it? Madha huwa, or ma huwa. Note that when aina or ma are used with a sentence that has a jarun wa majrurun in it. Note that when aina or ma are used with a sentence that has a jarun wa majrurun in it, the harfu jarrin comes before the question word. Sorry, my brain is slow. Know that when aina or ma are used with a sentence that has a jarun wa majrurun in it, the harfu jarrin comes before the question word. In that case, in the case of ma, the harfu jar merges with the ma, and the alif is omitted and replaced with a fatha. Take a look at the examples below. Min ayna huwa. Min ayna huwa. Where is he from? The harfu jar min comes before the question word ayna. Amma yatasa'alun. Right? What are they asking each other about? This is an plus ma. An plus ma. The harfu jar an comes before the question word ma. The alif is replaced with a fatha. Fima kuntum. What were you all in? This is fi plus ma. The harfu jar fi comes before the question word ma. The alif is replaced with a fatha. Lima adhinta lahum. For what reason did you give them permission? Right? Lima translates literally as for what, but can be translated more naturally as why. Limada or lima. Okay, it says, drill 12 says, translate the following sentences from Arabic to English. Be sure to specify number and gender of pronouns in your translation. Bismillah, go ahead. Give it a few minutes.
Question?
Yes.
An example, what did Zainab study? It says you can.
What?
Um,
Mada?
yeah, ماذا درست زينب. It says you can use mad. Wouldn't that just negate the past?
It can, but that would more go back to like the context, right? Like from the context of the situation,
Yeah.
right? Like as if someone asks you a question, you say ما درست هل درست زينب, you say ما درست زينب, but then obviously it's
Yeah.
So certain things will depend on context. Yes, sir. Correct.
What did he say?
He said these are still jumla ismiyas and jumla fi'liyas. We just ignore that beginning part. Huh? Al-kubra is a show the biggest. It's the feminine version of al-akbar. So it's what they call the superlative, the ism al-taqlid, but it's the feminine.
True.
What number? 2. It's the verb ba'a yabi'u, to sell. It's the past tense. Bi'tum, all of you sold. I added, right? قال يقول قولا and باع يبيع بيعا, because it was part of the vocab, but Shaykh Ali didn't have you memorize it because of the weak letters. Right? باع becomes bi'. So good. Yeah, so listen guys, listen. Good. So right, weak letter first. Let's just use قال and باع as examples. قال and باع, right? Third person is fine. Third person is easy, okay? So you're gonna end up with قال, قالا, قالوا, قالت, قالتا, and قلنا. قلنا is a little tricky, right? Get it? Same thing. باع باع باعوا باعت باعت باعتا and بعنا بعنا. Okay? Then when you get to second person, that's where it gets a little tricky, right? قال for أنت becomes قلت. The first letter is now taking a dhamma. Yes? قلت قلتما قلتم قلتي قلتما قلتن قلتو قلنا. باع, instead of the first letter taking a dhamma, it takes a kasra. So بعت بعتما بعتم بعتي بعتما بعتن بعتو بعنا.
Depending on when it has a weak letter, it's gonna either go with the wow and the.
Yeah, and the reason it goes with the dhamma, so قال in the mudari becomes يقول. The wow, it correlates with the dhamma. And ba'a in the mudari becomes yabi'u, and the ya correlates with the kasra.
That's one of the rules that we'll learn later.
Also, another example would be to die. Mata yamutu. Mata yamutu. So you have the wow here. So in second person, you're going to go mutta, muttuma, muttum. Not that you already use these, like you died, but mutti, mutti, right? Muttuma, muttunna, muttu, not mittu. Right? But you could say, you know how like you young people, I'm dead. Muttu. So say I'm dead, just say muttu.
There was an example earlier in the last class about sleep. She was saying that sleep is not transitive. It's like you
Yeah.
you can't sleep. And I was thinking they use that now, like slept him, like you knocked him out.
No,
So you
okay,
can use-
so no, so then you would use family too. And nama, you would use nawwama.
No.
Remember I talked about, I said drowsy medicine is called, anyone remember? منوم اسم الفاعل نوم ينوم تنويما فهو منوم, right? It's the doer. So drowsy medicine is called munawwim. So no, you would say like he slept him nawwamahu. Put nama upon family too. And you're good.
Would you say with the for matter?
For mata, I said muttu, but it should be mittu. Yeah, yeah. Both of them are correct.
Is that a noun? I was thinking you ate nail. That's what it looked like.
or they would we have to vote it. This is the
Say it again.
You age the smallest child. في الجملة التالية
Okay, let's look at what we have. Nurama, read number 1. No, the people went to إلى الشجرة الكبرى, the biggest tree, ودرسوا حديث النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, and they studied the hadith of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. Number 2, Amira. Translate. Yeah, you all entered my house, ate my food, and sold all my things, or sold my things. Salma, 3.
Smallest child ate most food.
Yeah, the smallest child or the youngest, smallest, in like the youngest, can mean both, right? Smallest in size and youngest child ate the most food. طيب 4.
درست مع أمي وأبي القراءة والكتابة. I studied reading and writing with my mom and dad.
Yeah, I studied reading and writing with my mom and dad. Isa 5.
سألنا أحمد وزيد عن البناء الجديد. We asked Ahmad and
Let's
Zayd.
say it again.
سألنا أحمد.
No.
أو سألنا
There we go.
أحمد وزيد عن البناء الجديد.
نعم. سألنا. Right? Not سألنا. سألنا would be we asked. Translate it.
Ahmed asked us. Ahmed and Zayd asked us about the new house. So about the new building.
نعم. Ahmed and Zayd asked us about the new building. Grant. 6.
Yes. كفر القوم الظالمون بفضل الله عليهم.
أولئك.
What?
Mine says.
Oh no, we have
Oh
a
my
different
God,
copy.
I have a different one.
Yeah, we have.
Do the one after. What do you have after
I just
سألنا
read
أحمد?
6.
I have your book.
I'm looking at your screen right
I have
Yeah.
أولئك الناس قرأوا.
كفر القوم.
So mine's right. You have something else.
Yeah.
Oh, you have it too then,
Not
huh?
what I have.
You have mine.
Oh, you want the PDF?
I'm PDF too. Okay, Grant, read what you have.
Translate or read it?
No, read it again.
كفر القوم الظالمون بفضل الله عليهم. The oppressive people disbelieve in Allah's bounty on them or over them.
No, this. I was like this is why I got replaced because it doesn't make sense. No. This is the other meaning of kafara.
The oppressive people were ungrateful.
Yeah, ungrateful. Yeah, because the other meaning of kafara, disbelieved. If you translate it, it says the oppressive people disbelieved by the bounty of Allah or because of the bounty of Allah upon them. I was like, let's go with what you have. No, but it's the kafara meaning over here because kafara can be used as an opposite of amana, and kafara can be used as an opposite of shakara, right? And over here it's shakara, it's to be ungrateful, or it's the opposite of shakara. So kafara al-qawm al-zalimun, the wrongdoing people were ungrateful of the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon them. Just out of curiosity, what do you have, Tayyib?
أولئك الناس قرأوا كل القرآن في سنة.
Okay. أولئك الناس قرأوا كل القرآن
في سنة.
في سنة. Okay. All of those people read the Quran or the entire Quran in a year. You had a question? No? Anyone? Siraj, next one. 7.
درسوا ذلك الكتاب عن لسان الأقوام السابقة. They studied that book about the language of the previous nations and people.
Yeah, they studied that book about the lisan over here, the language of the previous peoples. Bayan 8.
الله جعل محمدا رسولا وقرأ محمد القرآن على الناس.
This would be phrased better if it was the first part was into fi'liya, جعل الله. But anyways, go ahead, translate it.
Allah made Muhammad a prophet, and Muhammad read the Quran to the people. On the people.
Yeah, upon the people. Allah ja'ala Muhammadan rasula, that Allah made Muhammad a messenger, and Muhammad recited the Quran upon the people.
Whenever it's put in this way, where technically you're doing what to, would you have to put like in English? Would you translate it as Allah made, or would you say Allah, he made?
I would just go with Allah made.
Okay, so just treat it like it.
9 Maryam Khidr. DJ 9. Saad 9.
Musa wrote books when he traveled to the city,
When he was going.
when he traveled to his city after.
Yeah, so كتب موسى كتبا, that Musa wrote books. عند means at the time, during, when. ذهابه إلى قريته, like while, you could go with while perhaps. That Musa wrote books while he was going to his village, his town, after Hajj. 10, Ya Siraj.
ليتهم عبدوا معنا إلها واحدا.
طيب.
Later is never. إنا أنك أنا لكننا لعل later.
That is the sisters, all of them. Huh?
If only.
If only.
So only.
Yeah. If only they.
Only they.
If only.
If only they worshipped. With
Do ilahan wahidan first in your translation. If only they worshipped
the one Lord.
one God with us. Only they worshipped one God with us. Michelle, 11.
قرأ طلاب العلم كل كتب ذلك
طلاب العلم.
قرأ طلاب العلم كل كتب ذلك العالم أم أم
Maryam Khidr. DJ. Bayan.
Can I go?
Yeah, go ahead, DJ.
The students of knowledge read every book that ذلك
Not every book, but rather
all the books
all the books of
knowledge.
all the books of that scholar.
Oh, that's called okay.
قرأ طلاب العلم كل كتب ذلك العالم, that the students of knowledge read all of the books of that scholar. 12 يا بيان.
عرف الساحر أن موسى رسول صادق. The magician knew that Musa was a truthful messenger.
Now, the magician knew or realized or recognized that Musa was a truthful messenger. Yes.
Could you, so you would just say was instead of is, although it's, how do you know to say was instead of is?
For 12?
After Musa, yes.
The
You just
magician
carry on
realized.
with
that
the
Musa
verb
is-
tense?
Yeah. This kid, yeah. Okay. Skip 13 for right now, go to 14 and give a few minutes, do it by yourself. Replace the harakat on the following sentences based on your knowledge of both al-jumla al-ismiyya and al-muf'aliyya. Bear in mind the labels that go with each type of sentence.
What was Grant's question about that?
We translated عرف الساحر, the magician knew or realized أن موسى رجل صادق, that Musa is a truthful messenger, as opposed to he realized that Musa
Was.
She said was.
was, and as opposed to translating it as that Musa is a truthful messenger.
But was is more correct than this.
Usually with the past tense verb.
We're just on.
Yes. Oh, vowel, sorry, vowel and translate, vowel and translate.
How you would translate, like,
Yes.
it was like.
In book one, yeah.
Like, with these sentences, it does affect how we translate it, like, the last exercise where you do something. They do effort on that. I thought it was most of the food, but then he said the most. And then like this is like,
Sorry, 8, we said,
said 8, the smallest child eat the most food. After that, also,
we said most of the food.
I thought it was most. I understand.
Most of the food, most. Okay.
Like, it just looks at it.
Yeah, most, no, there's a difference. Most of the food and
Ate the most. The
ate the
smallest
most.
child. That was-
No, it's most of the food. I don't know what we translate, but it should be most of the food.
Okay.
أكثر الأكل is most of the food. Yeah, it's most, yeah. Do we translate it as the most food?
We, in class, we said eight the most food.
Eight the most.
And you're saying it should be the most.
Yeah, eight أكثر الأكل. Yeah.
And then.
The other one about the all of the books, right? كل كتاب كل كتب
Yeah.
كل كتاب.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
كل
one was less than
كتاب.
me.
Yeah.
But then now this drew. Number
Yeah.
two, did both of them eat the whole ram, or did they eat all of the rams? And I think the first book had some exercises like kullu masjidin, or like.
Yeah. No, it's the entire. It can't be all of the rams. Just from context. It's too people.
Okay, but. You don't need to like memorize.
No, but I would go back to it. It is beneficial. It does help make the distinction between when you use that and all of that.
It would,
Like for example, kullu masjid. I think it uses masjid, right? Kullu masjidin, right? Is every mosque, right? And then kullul masjidi was like all of the mosque. So it made that first distinction, right? Kullu masjidin is each mosque. Let me see. What do you use masjid, right? Yeah. Yeah. So kullu masjidin was each and every mosque. Essentially every mosque. Right? Kullul masjidi is the entire mosque.
like in this case, like the entire ram.
Yes. Yeah. Like the entire round. Yes. And then C was kullul masajidi.
All of the mosques.
Yeah.
But in this case, kapshun doesn't have a plural, yeah?
Yeah. So the one that wasn't given is technically what you have here in 11. Because it gave, just so you know, it gave 3. It gave A, B, and C. It gave masjid, al-masjid, and al-masajid. But it didn't give masajid. Do you get what I'm saying? Right? But kullu masajid, it wouldn't work. The reason it worked here, because it gave you kullul masajid, all of the mosques, right? It didn't give you kullu masajid. It did not give you that. But you have that here. But the only reason it worked here is because kutub is getting its ma'rifah from dhalika. So it's essentially kullul kutub, but it's expressed through dhalika. You get what I'm saying? There are only 3. The fourth, what seems to be the fourth here, is not the fourth because kutub is getting its alif lam, its ma'rifahness from the word dhalika.
So it said. Every.
Kullu masjidin is every mosque. It's one mosque and it's the entire thing. Right? And then kullul masajid are all of the mosques.
It's kind of like.
Yeah. Except that we went from singular to plural. And you specified, and you also specified. Kullu masjid is every single mosque, right? But when you say kullul masajid, just differently. Right.
Like maybe they would come up differently, but it would almost translate.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Like for example, if you wanted to say that all of the mosques were beautiful, right? You would say kullul masajid. Right? But if you wanted to say that each and every single mosque should have a youth director, you would say kullu masjidin.
You're trying to emphasize on every individual versus
Every single one.
every single individual
Yeah.
masjid rather than all the masjids.
Exactly.
Because if you say all the masjids have a youth director, you might be implying that one youth director for all the masjids.
Potentially. Yeah. All right, let's go. Mira, you're doing all these mental gymnastics.
Sheikh, it's called meta.
Huh?
It's called meta.
It's meta. You said you checked out yesterday. I'm like, I'm like in the process of checking out right now.
Yeah.
And like Amira's like, Amira's getting in the way.
Check out.
Huh?
Sheikh Aisha is gonna check out.
I know.
I'm gonna check out.
No, she was
Listen. Yeah, I got nothing respect for Sheikh Aisha, but I got 4 kids, right? 4 young kids, right? You might.
What age?
9, 7, 5, and 3. Yeah. It's not, I'm not, it's, you know, I'm picky eater, but my wife and kids, they love Taco Tuesday on Tuesdays, right? Usually my wife picks them. Yesterday she asked me to pick them up. I get home and my son is like, he took a very short nap, so he's like ready to sleep, right? So him and his sister that's right above him, they're the closest, but they also fight the most, right? So he hits her, and then she's chasing him so she can hit him back, and then he starts crying. He comes to me. I was like, he's ready to go sleep. So I take him upstairs. I get him all ready, and then he's like, Baba Tacos. I'm like, no, you ate, bro. I'm like,
Did he
no.
brush his teeth?
Huh?
He brushed his
I
teeth.
brushed his teeth. I did everything. I just
sleeping hungry.
ready, right? And the poor kid cried 2 different times. Like tacos, and I brushed his teeth. I was like, no. And then I take him into the room. He's like, tacos. And I was like, okay, just feel bad. I go eat tacos. And I was like, I'm out of I'm hungry. And I take him back upstairs. I'm like, I'm not brushing his teeth again. We did that. We did that. And we lie down. I'm like, yes, he's gonna go to sleep early. And he looks at me. He goes, yeah, he can talk. He can put some words together. He's like, Baba. I'm like, yeah. He said, I didn't kiss mommy. And I'm like, tomorrow. He's like, no, tonight. I'm like, no, not tonight. All right, Bismillah. Rama, go ahead, do 1. نعم دخلوا الغرفة الصغيرة القديمة, which means they entered the small old room. They entered the small old room. Right. غرفة is مفعول به. الصغيرة and القديمة are both صفas. 2. عيسى.
أكلتما كل الكبش.
أكلتما كل الكبش. The meaning is
You two ate the entire ram.
you two ate the entire ram. Grant. 3.
ذهب الأبو إلى المسجد مع ابنه.
ذهب الأب إلى المسجد مع ابنه. Okay. Or مع ابنه if you connect it.
The father went to the mosque with his son.
The father went to the mosque with his son. طيب. 4.
سألونا عن أشياء كثيرة.
نعم. سألونا عن أشياء.
أشياء.
What is it, guys?
It's gotta be
ها؟ عن أشياء. ممنوع من الصرف.
ممنوع من الصرف. شيء أشياء.
What?
I was gonna say is the mudaf, but it's not mudaf. That's a simple.
It's a? Yeah.
كثير is a صفة, yeah?
كثير is a
So
صفة.
it's
It's
gonna
not a
have a thing.
mudaf. Huh?
كثير is gonna be regular.
Yes,
كثيرة.
كثيرة. I see what you're saying. If it's mudaf, right? If it was like أشياء something, hypothetically, then we would give it a kasra if it was a mudaf. But كثيرة is a صفة over here, and أشياء is just a majdoor. So, نعم سألونا عن أشياء كثيرة. They asked, translate it.
Just gonna we said it's أشياء كثيرة.
Yes.
They asked us about many things.
They asked us about many things. Grant.
I just want to ask about this pattern. In the book, we also had أعداء. It said.
أعداء.
It said, but it should be أعداء, right?
Yes.
And anything of the, I think there was like 2 other words.
There was one more.
I'm like, I think this pattern should be single dhamma.
Yes.
But the book has it tanween.
Tanween, yes, that was one of them.
I had it memorized wrong.
Yeah, it was like 2 or 3 words.
So
You'll live, guys. You'll live.
I just picked it up last week. I think everybody-
Did you say أشياء كثيرة؟
كثيرة
Wait,
صفة نعم yes
but those it gave us right, but they
There's-
gave us out.
No,
yes
that-
And Khalid.
أخلاؤون, I think
They
it's-
give, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I don't think I pointed out أخلاون. I think I pointed out أعداء,
maybe.
but I don't think I pointed out I didn't know. I think أشداء gave us right. It gave it right, but أخلاء, yeah, that's a different pattern.
Oh, different pattern.
Wait, so it's أخلاء.
No, أخلاؤون. Is that how it was in the book?
Yeah, it says,
Well, clearly there's like 6 different books going around.
it's a different.
سألونا عن أشياء كثيرة. They asked us about many things. Oh, sorry.
Is it Ghilmanun or is it Ghilman?
No, nun. Five, Saad. What? Sorry, five.
ذهبنا إلى ذلك المكان.
ذهبنا إلى ذلك المكان, which means
We went to this, we went to that place.
we went to that place. Good. Siraj, 6.
خلق الله السماوات والأرض. والأرض.
نعم. خلق الله السماوات والأرض. خلق الله السماوات والأرض, which means
Allah created the heavens and
Allah created the heavens and the earth. 7, Selma. One more time. مسلمات. خبر أن. نعم. إني علمت أن كن مسلمات, which means yeah, indeed I knew that all of you are Muslims. 8 بيان.
هل درستم حديثا جديدا اليوم؟
اليوم.
Did you study a new hadith today?
Did you study a new hadith today? 9 DJ.
إن الله كتب الإحسان على كل شيء. Indeed Allah
prescribed.
Indeed Allah prescribed the book.
No, al-ihsan, excellence or perfection.
Prescribed excellence upon everything.
No, indeed Allah prescribed ihsan, perfection, excellence upon every single thing. And then 10, Michelle.
كأنك سألته ذلك اليوم.
كأنك
سألته ذلك اليوم. As if you asked him that day.
As if كأنك سألته ذلك اليوم, as if you asked him that day. Who had a question?
Yeah, I had a question, just.
You're like pushing your limit to that.
With how, it's not gonna say like, how did you study the hadith today? It would just say, did you study the hadith today?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Hal is just did you, yes or no options. Kaifa would be how. Okay. Looking really quickly at that vocab review. It starts with what, that, or which. Rama. What, that, or which? Which one would fill all three? Amira? Ma. Salma, who, the one, who, or whoever. Man. Siraj says at the time when or remember when. It's not a question. Mata is when. It's a question, uses a question. Sa'id? إذ. Isa, when or all of a sudden? طيب.
يومئذ.
أميرة.
Either.
إذا. 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 I also taught you guys like there's when, إذا, and then there's what they call إذا الفجائية, the إذا of surprise or suddenness, right? This is إذا. إذا. Grant, then or afterwards? ثم. 6, Bayan, it says or and it wants 2 different answers.
أو
Or? There's 2. O or?
one.
Huh?
I can only think of one.
Rama? Selma, O or am? O or am? طيب, rather or but? He's looking at the book.
No, I'm
scrolling down back to the question.
Oh, I did have a question. I'm not
Answer
sure if
your question first. Rather or but is?
bel. I
Bel.
don't know. I don't like. Were we supposed to memorize these words? Because I don't think anybody ever said memorize these words. These are all new to me.
You did like a week or 2 ago, yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, I did.
You have to say memorize the book yet?
Yeah.
Not the 3-letter words.
Right?
Huh?
Maybe I'm tripping.
So it's like all news to me. I don't know how anybody's getting all news right.
Yeah, you said you memorized.
Amira, can you back me up on this one?
Huh? I remember class late and I asked Rama and I was like, details to memorize.
So what is she?
And what Rama saying?
You said to memorize them, but then that when we took the test the next week, you said, I'm not going to put it on the test. But he definitely said to memorize.
No, the 3-letter words though.
That's memory that Allah blesses people with. That's you know, they say knowledge is light. That's part of that light right there. That's exactly what I said. I couldn't have said it better. That sounded like me. That sounded like me. Even when you said it right now, it sounded so epic. I was like, very much. So rather or but is bal. Isa, statement or speech?
قول.
قول. Good. قول. Bayan, good deeds.
صالحات.
صالحات. 10 says whether or if. DJ.
I don't know this one.
Michelle.
إما.
إما. Righteous or pious. طيب.
محسن. صادق.
محسن, someone who does ihsan.
صادق.
Someone who's truthful. That's the next one. Truthful. صادق. Righteous or pious. Yeah. Huh? Siraj. Sa'id. Salihun. So Salihun was 11. Then I don't know if you have them misnumbered like me, but the one that says truthful is Sadiqun. And then after that you have if. Amira. Low. And then you have appointed time, which is a phrase, which is 2 words. Ya Salma. Ajalun musamma. Madi mudari' masdar. Rama, to read. قرأ يقرأ قراءة. To listen or to hear. Amira. سمع يسمع سمعا. Salma, to create. خلق يخلق خلقا. طيب, to do.
فعل. Yeah.
Do the other one.
عمل يعمل عملا.
نعم. عمل يعمل عملا. To write. يا عيسى.
كتب يكتب كتابة.
كتب يكتب كتابة. To eat. Grant.
أكل يأكل أكلا.
أكل يأكل أكلا. Siraj, to worship. عبد يعبد عبادة. سعد, to oppress. ظلم يظلم ظلما. يا بيان.
سجد
Yeah, go ahead.
يسجد سجودا.
نعم سجد يسجد سجودا. To provide great help. مريم خضر.
نصر ينصر نصرا.
نصر ينصر نصرا. Ahmed DJ to ask.
سأل يسأل سؤالا.
سأل يسأل سؤالا. To go, Michelle.
فعل يفعل.
Go, to go, to go.
Oh, ذهب يذهب ذهابا.
ذهب يذهب ذهابا. عبد الرحمن Mardini to say.
قال يقول قولا.
قال يقول قولا. Rama to know or to learn, to learn. The other one. Yeah, although they could be used interchangeably. علم يعلم علما. Amira to enter. دخل يدخل دخولا. Salman to study. درس يدرس دراسة. طيب to make.
جعل يجعل جعلا.
جعل يجعل جعلا. عيسى to cover, to disbelieve.
كفر يكفر كفرا.
كفر يكفر كفرا. Grant to sell.
باع
Mhm.
باع يباع
يبيع.
يبيع باع
سعد. باع يبيع بيعا. باع يبيع بيعا. بيعا. Not me, Grant, but one of your classmates in the back of their head, that evil voice kicked in, and they were like, "Oh, so he remembered that Sheikh Ahmed said memorize them, but he didn't memorize them himself." I said one of your classmates, not me, but I could hear them.
What was the verb? Was it the verbs too? The two verbs?
Yeah, we.
You said that.
Sounds simple.
باع يبيع بيعا. Siraj, to know, to recognize. عرف يعرف. What is it, Salma? معرفة. Is that it? Okay. Although we have left all that we have left, we're not going to do it now. From this chapter is drill 13, right? Should give you a drill 13 for homework. So, yeah. And then we can knock it out, inshallah, at the beginning of class tomorrow.
Is there class tomorrow?
Wait, I thought you meant homework during the break.
Come on.
Tomorrow's second grade. You know, like a second grade event.
I think it starts at like 11.
Okay.
I think it's at 11. I think, honestly. Yeah, I think it's at 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have a bit of class, and then we have. I think so.
Don't check out yet.
Yeah, don't check out. Yeah. No. So let's do this. 1 through 15. 1 through 15. Do the best you can. If you get stuck, right? Seek assistance from Allah and then keep on moving. 1 through 15. Do what you can. Write your own answers in pencil, and then we'll try to go over them in class tomorrow. So we can go into the break having finished chapter 13. It's awkward, you know, that one don't feel like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like bad dreams about it, you know? Yeah, like one drill is just like lingering, you know? If I don't make it back from break, it's like, oh, Sheikh Ahmed taught us 12 chapters. Well, it can't be 13. 13. Huh? Exactly. Let's look at the just so we have it. Just look at the next set of vocab. It's 11:10 p.m. Wednesday, December 18th. I want you to memorize these words. It's just not like stating time, like so we know. I said it's Wednesday, December 18th. It's 11:10 p.m. and I'm clearly asking you to memorize these words, so there's no confusion.
Which ones? Can you repeat that one again?
Chapter 14 vocabulary. I don't know if he's pulling my leg.
No, I didn't hear you. This is the top ones, right? The first three rows.
Anything on this page.
Oh, even other families now.
Yeah, actually, also, yeah. So, okay, so let's go through it. Fatirun is originator and creator, right? There's khaliqun, which means creator, but fatirun also has that meaning of creating, but originating with no previous example, right? So when Allah says, Fatiru samawati wal ard, it's not just the creation aspect, it's originating with no previous example. Aqibatun means the end, the consequence, or the outcome, right? Aqibatun, once again, is one of those words that has a neutral meaning. Clear? It can be used in a negative sense as a consequence. You can also use it in a positive sense, right? وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. Like the good outcome over here is for the muttaqin, right? But it can also be used in a negative sense, right? Bisharatun, good news. The next one, corrected. It says tabi'atun, it should be tabi'atun with a ta. It's already corrected in your book? Okay. For those of you that have the PDF, then it should be tabi'atun with a ta. It's corrected, right? The plural is taba'i'u. Mamnu' min as-sarf. Tabi'atun, the plural is mamnu' min as-sarf, taba'i'u. Trust, and it says temperament or nature, right? Trustworthy, aminun. For disloyal, it says traitorous. The other one is like treacherous. Can also be treacherous. Kha'inun, two plurals, khuwanun and kha'inuna. Jail, sijnun, innocent, also like exonerated, or also like free of, bari'un. If I said, for example, ana bari'un minhu, right? It's not like I'm innocent basically, but I'm like exonerating myself and showing that I'm distancing myself from him, right? Bari'un. Maw'idatun, a lecture, a warning, an admonition. Khamrun, wine, intoxicant. Khubzun, bread. Ta'wilun, from ta'wilun means interpretation. Ta'wilun comes from the family to verb, which is awwala. Awwala yu'awwilu ta'wilan. Clear? Okay, looking at the verbs, I know the three-letter ones, I believe that Shaykh Aisha has had you memorize, maybe with the exception of a couple. But fataha yaftahu fathan, to open, yes. Hadara yahduru huduran, to attend. Bada'a yabda'u bidayatan, to start. Talaba yatlubu talaban, to request. Nasaha yansahu nasihatan, to advise. Taraka yatruku tarakan, to leave. Shariba yashrabu shurban, to drink. Ghadiba yaghdabu ghadaban, to get angry. All of these so far, yeah? What's the? Yashrabu. Do you have something else? Okay. Labisa yalbasu libasan, to wear. No, sorry. Did this get corrected?
Mine says lubsan.
Yes, yeah, it says lubsan. I made that correct.
Wait, what's the correction?
Lubsan.
It's not libasan?
No, libasan is clothing. Lubsan is the idea of wearing. Once again, labisa, to wear. Yalbasu, the mudari'. The masdar is lubsan. Lubsan. As for libas, libas is the clothing itself. Like clothing is referred to as libas. But lubsan refers to the idea or the thought of wearing. Of wearing clothing. Yes, because I'm putting it in the nasbun form. Lubsan. Hakama yahkumu hukman, to judge, to rule. Sabara yasbiru sabran, to be patient, perseverant. Sakana yaskunu sakanan, to reside or to settle. Bahatha yabhathu bahthan, to dig up, to search. Fa'ala yaf'alu fi'lan, to do. Did she have you do these last two? I'm assuming not.
Yeah.
She did.
Amara ya'muru amran. Oh, you did? Okay. Amara ya'muru amran, to command, and akhadha ya'khudhu akhdan, to take. I assume maybe she didn't, because the commands on these are amara ya'muru amran. The command is mur. The command is mur. And the command on to take is khudh, right? these verbs that start with an alif or would start with an hamza, they function slightly differently. Clear? So the command would be mur and the command would be khud. Okay, family 2, you did not take these. حرق يحرق تحريقا, to burn or to torch someone or something. The SO means someone and the ST means something. علق يعلق تعليقا, we said to hang or to comment. That's family 2. Family 3, سافر يسافر سفارا ومسافرة, to travel. And then family 4, أكرم يكرم إكراما, to honor. The SO means someone, to honor someone. أطعم يطعم إطعاما, to feed or to give food. Right? And then at the bottom there's a little note. It says seen slash sofa. I'm reading from the right. Seen slash sofa plus a mudari means will. So if you say سأذهب or سوف أذهب, it's explicitly putting the verb into the future tense. Remember, the mudari is the future slash, sorry, it's the present slash future tense. Seen or sofa puts it explicitly into the future. The difference between seen and sofa is what? Yeah, and the difference between the two is relative. Like seen could be 10 years and sofa could be 20. Or seen could be tomorrow and sofa could be next week. But the idea is that sofa is further in the future than seen is. And then the next one, it says qad plus a madin verb, right? Means have or already. So qad, what it does over here, it emphasizes. Qad, when used with a madi verb, it emphasizes. Okay? Then qad plus mudari. Qad plus mudari. In Quranic Arabic, it's used as emphasis as well. For example, قَدْ يَعْلَمُ اللَّهُ الْمُعَوِّقِينَ مِنْكُمْ. Right? قَدْ with a mudari in the Quran is used for emphasis. But قَدْ plus a mudari in modern Arabic is used as might. For example, if I said, let's say Isa was never ever absent, right? And I said, قد يغيب عيسى. He might be absent, right? Clear? So قد with a mudari in the Quran emphasizes, and qad with a mudari in modern Arabic is used for might happen. Yes, you would not, seen and sofa with the madi would defeat the purpose.
Yeah.
Would go against the entire concept. Yes?
How would you say something that happened is still happening?
It's still happening. You could use something like mazala. So kana, remember we studied kana and laysa? They have other sisters, right? One of them is mazala, which indicates continuity. So you could use mazala before, at the beginning of whatever it is that you want to say, right? So for example, if I said, if I wanted to say like it's still raining, which indicates that it was raining and it's still raining, I would say something like ما زال المطر ينزل, or ما زال المطر نازلا, depending if I'm using a noun or a verb. ما زال functions like kana and laysa, right? So you're gonna have a ism and a khabar, and generally the ism will come first. Okay. Okay, we'll end a little early today. We will please do exercise 13, so we can try to knock it out inshallah at the beginning of class tomorrow.
Yeah. Remember what Shirley Bates said about like when people what you can do. I'm gonna ask you.
It's gonna be here or maybe online and answer the question.
No, he'll be here in person.
Yeah, he said online, but then he also said here.
I believe he'll be here. Oh.
Okay.
Huh?
So we still come for your class 10.
I don't know what Sheikh Zaid said. So,
We still have your class.
yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh? Tomorrow's,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Basically, do your coffee run before wherever you need to be before. Yeah, 10, right? Tomorrow's Thursday. So, وعليكم السلام. Huh?
Somewhere it said 11. There is some.
I feel like I read that too somewhere. What said 11? Could be wrong. They could take over my entire class and I'll just be upset. Oh.